Microsoft.
Shall we get started with the fund balances? The fun thing. You've got your fund balances.
Whoops.
Hold
Hold
up.
up. Hold up.
Oh,
Turn on the music.
Got them.
Don't let this handle this.
General fund, you see, actually, the supplemental income tax distribution that we got are in these numbers, but the property tax settlement is not yet. So, looks healthy. Economic development, 1112 looks healthy. The spatial that's the library, 1114 went up a lot. 1122 community corrections project fund looks healthy. 1135 and 38 the Cume Bridge and Cume Cap. Cume Cap we keep spending it down, but got a good balance. 1159 the health department looks good, and their first Indiana health keeps going up, so that's healthy. And they have agreed, to go ahead and in 27 pay for one of the navigators that they're now paying for. They'll keep paying for that in the jail. And
Now, the jail navigator is what they'll pay for again, right? So they have their staff. Okay.
Hey, do you have whiteout?
Can you white out these pages?
I don't think so.
We can't, what, somebody signed the
no,
wrong
you have
spot.
to
No,
mark out,
we'll make the
mark out
correction
his
upstairs. Just
name
go ahead
and
and
like
sign
name
it,
on
and we'll.
Put a line through it.
I have gotten a comment that someone's phone is too close to the microphones, it's crackling. Public service announcement.
I think that happens at every meeting here.
okay, moving on.
That can't or me.
Debbie, did you shut me off? I have no microphone.
You've got to share with Mary. She likes to talk into that all the time.
I'm just kidding, I really
Just shut the
don't.
mic off.
Fine, they can hear.
1170 public safety, lit public safety looks good. Rainy day, 1186 didn't change, and 1189 recorder perpetuation fund keeps going down, but on the next page you see they've got a couple of $100,000 in a CD. 1213 CASA looks solvent. 1222, that's E911, those are the fees. Hit pretty hard. And then 1233 and 34, the two lit correctional, the first one is the capital fund where we're going to take the 5.5 or whatever it is million for the new building from. And then the operating fund out of that. Then 1235 is lit PSAP, looking pretty good. That's where we added 2 basis points from the library. And 2501 drug court looks solvent. Any comments anybody has along the way, just whistle. Page 3. 2509 behavioral court is solvent. And then we get into the TIF area, 4616, that's the big TIF. And the jail, or the GEO bond proceeds, 4623 is the 21 bond, so got pretty healthy balance in it. And
That will go away, Jim.
Pardon me?
That will go away, because we're almost finished with the community corrections.
Okay.
So I was in there the other day, and it looks really nice, but we still got a lot to do that can be done, so.
That still comes out of this?
Yes, yes.
Okay. 4624 and 28 are two of the smaller TIF area. Well, no, the west TIF, that's the number 2 TIF that butts up against the big one. And then 4629, that's the 22 GEO bond for E911. 4631 is a 22 bond for I guess, general things. You still got that one captured, Gary, I think, right?
What's that to do?
The balance in the 22 GO bond,
Yes, that's allocated.
okay. And then the 4633 is the 23 GO bond, which is pretty well gone. And right at the bottom is the 25 GO bond. Balance. And page 4, 4700 is the liability self-insurance line.
Jim,
Yes. Janine?
I think it would be, as we go through this next budgeting period, to go ahead and maybe in that self-assurance liability, put another $500,000 in it.
It's number 6 on our list today.
Is it?
Oh,
Oh, good.
Yeah.
no problem.
Yeah, it's coming up. Yep. 4908, that's the EDA payments. 4913 is jury fund. Jury pay fund is still solvent. I'm sure there's some big
A minute.
expenditures coming from that, probably. 5901 and 5902 are the health claims and the health claim reserve. And ditto there, we may want to boost that reserve up. Page 5. 1 is food and beverage. Looking very healthy, and then the rest are grants, including on the back page, page 6, the 8955, the CARES Act from the Health Department remains a pretty good balance. But the 8960, the ARPA grant, is down to almost zero, where it will go. It goes negative, right?
No, it cannot go negative.
Having a heart attack, don't do that.
No.
She doesn't do red.
Can't do negative. Not on that one.
So any comments or,
Very fun, yeah.
okay. Second thing on the agenda is capital plan. Been working with Gary McDaniel, Gary Poole, Keely. We've been meeting. We're trying to develop a written list of capital projects. That's what this is. And we can just quickly go down the line. The first one is in the 26 GO bond. That's the courthouse windows and doors. Got one in here for elevator. I don't think that's yet in the plan. The memorial building, bathrooms, that's in the 26 GO bond, I think. Sheriff's cars, that's an annual need. And this year's in the 26 bond. And the IT department is in the 26 bond. Highway department, that's the big number, is now in the 26 bond. Then that next one is we made a commitment to support radios for the county. That's an annual number. Then I just listed the 3 original Ag Association requests. And that first one, phase 1, is done. The other 2 are not done. And then we've got a slot here for the justice system. When we get around to it, that's just, you know, a whack at the number. Who knows what it will be. And we do have a road building annual support from economic development for the highway department for road building. And on the back page, the North 9 sewer project, which now is in the RDC's plan. Then next item is annex expansion. That's what the commissioners are looking at. And then there's a plan or that they're putting together, I think, to abandon the memorial building. There'll be some cost to that probably. then repurposing the courthouse eventually when we move to the farm. The sheriff's maintenance and storage building, that's what we're building right now. That's coming out of jail lit. Then there's been a request by the commissioners for an owner's rep. That's in capital because there's a thought that it might be able to be capitalized, but probably not, but
And it could save a lot of money.
yeah. And there is a thought to do some sidewalk work in Charlottesville and Mohawk. And then we are in the process of buying jacks.
That's just, I mean, couple months, it should be done.
So we're going to try and keep up this list with us working together, and
Okay.
so that we all kind of can anticipate what's
Coming up.
Coming up. Jail lit. Are you ready to take a beating?
Jail lit.
I'm sorry, lit supplemental. I'm sorry. Sorry. I got
Morning, everybody.
I got
Trying not to be snap, crackle, and pop. So if you remember those days. So you should have your sheet in front of you, which is the lit sheet. And Jim said, oh my gosh, there's so many numbers here. Which ones apply? Okay, so take out your pen and I'm going to do this with you. Okay, the third column over that has the 2285, that's the amount that's going to go to the general fund. So circle that. Public safety distribution, 671, right next door. That's going to go to the public safety. Next door to that is 334710. That'll be our supplemental lit going into the edit fund. Now, jump back up to the top, and the PSAP distribution, 324, 430 is what goes to the PSAP. Jump down to the bottom. That's why you have to jump around on this sheet. At the very bottom, the jail lit will get the 1,622,000. And then jump to the right, the special purpose of 1216611 is the library special. That is the only other one that would not affect the coffers, but comes into what the auditor has to do is the property tax relief of $2,027,685. That's actually 22%. That was quite a big hit. So right now we have a homestead credit deduction of about 10%, about 11%, ladies. And so that's a big number, and that'll affect next year's basically homestead credit. Again, it's not money for the council to spend. It basically helps the reduction on the tax rate, or the tax bill. Okay? Mm-hmm. Now, as far as the supplemental lit, I wanted to give you this. You were number 7 out of 91 counties as far as the highest. Okay, so that really looked good. Obviously, Hamilton, nobody's in the same ballpark as Hamilton. Hamilton was 17 million just for their, and you were at 2285, 2,285,000. But we were right in there with Tippy. Tippy was right above us, and Vandenberg and Johnson. So I'll send you this sheet by email, and I ranked them from highest to lowest. So I think that's good, and I think what it shows is that we're right in ballpark with our neighbors and things like that. Now, as a result of the special purpose lit, Jim and I chit-chatted a moment that probably this year we want to address reducing the library lit 5 basis points and probably putting in 5 basis points into edit. Definitely edit. So we have to give notice by 8/1 Okay, so you got, so next week, when you have your council meeting, you'd have to make a decision to give notice of that. And remember, then it all has to be done by October, November. And we got to start early because they might take their time. And so if you want to do that, you need to address that at your next council meeting. And the 1216 really kind of shores that up, right, even more than it already is.
And how many years, sustainability-wise, do you think we would be able to sustain that rate? Is it just like a couple years, or?
Yeah, I mean, we'd want to review it each and every year, but the answer is, remember, the Great Cliff is coming in 2028. You jump off for 2029. Okay, so I think it will make it past that point.
Past that point.
Yeah, so that's when we're still recommending 17 basis points for full funding where they're currently at. So, so it would go back up. But then obviously everything else will change too. Okay, so remember, the cliff is coming at the end of 28. And by the way, Jim, we do need to establish the 3 people that are on the Musk group. I don't know if you have that down here.
It's on his agenda.
Okay.
It's on the list, yeah.
So, questions on supplemental lit? It's really good news. Kent, we're over our amount that we put into the budget.
Nostradamus over here.
Surprise,
I'll let you
surprise. How many years now, Dave? Greg?
In mind,
How many years, Greg? I've been here 13.
not that many. I've got it into sustainability. I track it like a dog.
I was going to bring you flowers, but Jim told me not to.
Thank you.
Okay.
Questions on that?
Nope. You want to go on the GO bond while you're up there?
Yeah, so that's what I wanted to check. So
Okay.
the GO bond, if you remember in the last meeting, commissioners, I suggested we take that ag building out, ag part out. We have to do that. Otherwise, if you spent any money of the GO bond, it would be considered taxable. So Lisa said, no, you either need to make it a taxable bond or exclude it. So we've excluded it. It will be excluding it in the documents as we go forward, okay? And it'll keep it a nice tax exempt piece of paper that everybody will want, okay? And we'll put it out for competitive bid. We won't negotiate it unless something would happen in the market. We would put it out, and we did Plainfield Schools last week, and we got over 8 bids. And so it'll be a hot potato. Right. And so that's that's the plans for the GEO. You will have Lisa Lee has drafted the bond ordinance, so we'll be entertaining that in your next meeting or so. Maybe even next week you could do first reading of it. My staff is reviewing it right now, and we should be pretty good to go because it's pretty boilerplate. So to speak.
So you're just saying anticipate that reference to the 4-H or Ag Association is out of that bond?
Right.
Has that already been taken out of Exhibit A so that we
Yes.
don't put the wrong one in there?
We'll make sure, yeah, and Lisa will be on top of it.
I'll talk to her about it.
And she already knows, and it's already out of the draft. Okay. And so the answer is we don't want anybody to say, well, if we have 100,000 left, we'll give it to the ag. Well, you can't do that, okay, per Lisa.
So you're saying, and well, the bond council is saying that GO bond should not have Ag Association in it.
Again, because
some kind of a.
Well, because that's a different organization and the facilities are owned. I mean, I'm doing the exact same thing in Hendricks County, but Hendricks County owns the fairgrounds and owns the building. You guys are a little different, okay?
So if we want, going forward, if we want to do that, we need to fund it from other than a GO bond.
Correct.
Unless we want to pay a high rate.
Or, well, not necessarily a high rate, but it would have to be a totally separate financing taxable rates are a little higher, not a high rate, but they'd probably be 1% over. Yeah.
Okay.
Because the yield equivalency is different.
There's other bonds available.
But, so what we've said is maybe even the additional 5 basis points on edit could help. We've got many things, obviously, we can spend edit on, or food and beverage. So.
Okay.
Questions on the GO. So our goal again is hopefully you find it within your, within your review that we can get this approved by you, by the council, and if it has to go back to the commissioners or anything, and then we can get it done, reasonably well in the late summer, so we're not stalling it off into October, November, that kind of thing. As I have told you, that gets a little bit after Thanksgiving, no way. We don't like to do it. So, okay. Questions on GEO? Okay. Somebody else is up, right?
Oh, the Musk group. We need to put that together.
So we're recommending 3 council members at a minimum. More than that would become basically a public meeting. Not that you're hiding anything, but what we want to do is get the 3 council members established. A commissioner can be involved. It's not required during the during the process or in the law, but we've got to get then everybody together and maybe establish the first meeting. And the first meeting, we said we would have some data requests to ask them for.
The municipalities need to hit that same target date, that they need to assign someone to that MUST group as well?
So you will invite each city and town, and they will bring whoever they want.
There's
Starts first and then reaches out. Gotcha.
Correct.
There's a statute that says who they're supposed to send. Correct. At a minimum.
Yeah.
That's a minimum.
But they could bring
Just
the
like ours
entire
was
town.
just one, and I was like, well, I want more than one. I don't want to do it all by myself. So I was like.
Yeah, so the minimum was 1 for council.
I was going to recommend that Keely and I be part of it, being co-chairman of the budget committee, and one other one, if you want to, Scott. Okay. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. That's it.
Perfect, thank you. Then we'll start looking at possibly setting a meeting in July or something.
Do we want, as a commissioner, want to be involved, as you asked? No?
It's a council, more of a council.
It's more of a council thing, but.
Right.
And I talk to you guys.
I know.
You ain't got enough to do down there?
I think we can find more to do if we wanted.
All right.
Keep in mind, you're right, lit will be in 2028 at the Cliff. It will be basically voted on and put together by the county council.
Yeah, it'll be more important to have all of you, the auditor and financial advisor at that meeting than it will.
Oh, yeah.
Scott, did you want to do a motion maybe just to that effect, just to get it on the record?
Okay, make a motion to appoint to the Musk Group, Keely Butrum, Jim Shelby, and Scott Wooldridge.
Second.
Oh,
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
aye.
Aye.
All opposed? No, okay. Health insurance, or, I'm sorry, self-insurance, liability fund.
Okay? So,
What's your recommendation?
I think, we've got some pennies from heaven. We can, now you can't earmark the pennies from heaven, right? So we got to do a transfer from the general fund to the reserve fund. And, the current balance is what in there?
That's healthy.
It was
For what it is.
387, I think.
300 plus.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, my suggestion is we get it to 500. And then we take another step. I really don't want, there's lots of demands coming for the 2027 budget. So, I'm thinking getting it up to 500 would be very helpful. Obviously, you could go more than that if you thought.
250 would be recommended then, or?
Yes.
I'd like to interject there. Our stop loss will be a little over $1 million for next year. So I would personally feel like if we could get it at least up to $750,000 in the reserve fund, just to make sure in case something catastrophic would go down.
Okay, and so Jim, you were talking about the building insurance, right?
Pardon me?
You're talking about the
No,
building
we're
insurance.
talking about self-insurance liability reserve fund.
Liability.
Yeah, the liability insurance.
So that's the liability on somebody falls in the buildings and things like that.
Right.
Correct.
And when you're saying the stop loss is 750 on that.
The stop loss will be a little bit over $1 million for next year.
Okay, then, yeah, I'm okay with going to 750.
I think,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, we can always come up with another $200,000 if we had to, but, you
Yeah.
know, if we had to come up with the whole, you know, $500,000 would probably be a pretty good chunk.
So 750 minus the 300 and something would be, yeah,
About 400,000.
400.
yeah, about 400,000. So that's, I feel comfortable at this point
Yeah,
with
that's
that.
my comfort level too, Greg.
Yeah,
I
okay.
think it's also though, not just for buildings, but it's general liability.
It is,
Yeah.
it's everything.
Yeah, so, and I don't know, Greg, is there any magic number there for the bond, for the people that
No.
are looking at that? Okay.
No.
So we don't have to be worried about
Right.
that.
Yeah, people are having a hard enough time doing that. And by the way, on the supplemental lit, there's 18 counties that got zero. So, you know, don't forget, there's a lot of people that are hurting out there. We're really lucky. So, you get 18 counties that got zero.
You got 18 counties that had negative population growth, too. You got more than 18.
Yeah.
You got counties that are shrinking.
Yeah. So we're doing really good and the jobs are paying off. And so that's kind of important. So,
Okay, so we're considering moving 400,000 from the general fund to 4,700,
the reserve.
the reserve. Is there a
Second that.
motion?
Motion to do it.
Been moved and seconded that we move $400,000 from the general fund to Fund 4,700. All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Carried.
And Janine, thanks for bringing that up.
You're welcome.
The million. So,
Is there anything else that we want to consider, at least thinking about moving? I was thinking there was one other one, but I'm.
yeah, I don't think so. Remember, we've got all year, and so no hurry. We're sitting here, June 30th is going to be the critical date when we slam the book shut, and I'm sure I'll hear it clear over in Hendricks County. And so once we get those numbers as of 6:30, that will be again then telling. Now, we would like to make this transfer, for the reserve, for the liability reserve before 6:30. Keep your first 6 months very, very clean as much as you can, and that will help us do the 18-month budget, as you know. That will be coming really quick. So that would be it, Jim, at this point. So making sure, again, all claims, everything, if there's department heads out there, making sure our first 6 months we get up-to-date claims paid. We got a nice, smooth 6 months because that helps you, the council, with the second 6 months. Okay, and when we get the report, if we see, some things are really overspent or underspent, obviously, if we get it correctly expensed for the first half, we're going to be better off.
Yeah, I feel like we do a good job with that.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, but again, it's not your job as much as department heads. If they're holding any claims, let's get those in and get it smoothed out. So.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure.
Next is tourism, and
Just saying.
Keely and I met with them. Keely?
Yeah, Jim and I sat down with the president and treasurer of tourism to talk about a path for looking into and eventually pursuing some some new strategies for innkeepers tax and tourism. They let us know that they were in the final stages of implementing changes to their grant process, which will dramatically reduce the amount per grant that can be spent through their grant process. And that will in turn free up some of their annual cash flow. And they were very open to researching and exploring possibilities for investing in something. And so they said they were going to pursue that. There are multiple companies out there that specialize in consulting on creating destinations, attractions, and that they were going to solicit some proposals from those professionals and start studying what types of attractions in Hancock County, evidence-based, data-based, what makes the most sense. And so we left the ball in their court to get their proposals and circle back. Anything you would add to that, Jim?
Nope, not at all.
They threw around a number like $250,000 a year that they think that they could work with on an ongoing basis to invest in something, so.
Had you discussed, and you and I discussed once about creating this cum fund type situation where monies from tourism and possibly HEDC's overage amounts that they have coming together, so when the courthouse does vacate, we'll be ready to get in and move it to a place where we, as a county, decide we want it to be.
We asked them to explore all the options, whether that's venues, whether that's investment in existing county assets, whether it's collaboration with the Ag Association or the HEDC. I didn't realize it till after that meeting. I had forgotten, but the Community Foundation had actually bought a study a couple of years ago that gave tips basically to different county entities about quality of place initiatives, and a lot of that's for locals. It's not tourism, but there was some recommendations in there for tourism. So they were going to kind of circle back on those suggestions. And we encourage them to explore all the options for investing and comparing.
They seemed very interested and kind of surprised that there's a lot of other collaboration going on between county and CDC and some other entities, and we're very I think collaborating as a whole, maybe on something big like that.
I just thought it sounded like a great idea, so we'd actually be ahead of the curve when it came time to decide what's going to be done over there in the.
I will tell you, I met with Etika, the people that's going to do the windows and doors, and they're starting their process now. Construction should start next spring. Simply, they've got to get everything ordered and all that kind of stuff. It takes a long time to do that, but I met with them 2 weeks ago, and they ready to get going, so.
Good.
And I also reached out to the Historical Society simply because the windows are updated windows. They were put in about 30 years ago, but the doors are all original. So we're trying to keep the same thing there, but at the same time, we're not obligated through the Historical Society to do so. So if we have to change something, we can, so.
Yeah, so you guys all know how those processes look. It takes time, right, to get the proposals and to actually hire somebody and for them to actually start researching. But I would anticipate in the next couple of months probably hearing more, or maybe even being asked questions about your ideas for tourism in the county and that kind of thing.
They gave me a list of dates that everything is going to start. They have to do things, they've gone to finish and they got to go backwards in order to get the timeline going. But they were supposed to update the timeline and send it to me, and they have not done that yet. So when I get that, I'll share it with you.
Are they talking to the municipalities as well as to what their needs might be to put on that list?
I think they will. We didn't get into that specifically, but I would think that they do already fund in a small way, like marketing and things for events in all municipalities. But in terms of this process, I think a consultant is going to help guide them through, evaluating our different areas and what makes sense. And then the purpose of our meeting was not about the convention center, but while we were there, we did ask for an update on that. The hotel with an attached convention center out at 70 Mount Comfort, I think was originally slated to be completed this fall, but now it's looking like next spring. And just as a reminder, tourism bonded to direct all of their innkeeper's tax from that hotel specifically to that bond specifically. If the innkeeper's tax created by that hotel each year does not pay the bond payment, the developer pays the difference. And if at some point when it's at, in full capacity, if it produces more than the bond payment, then tourism will net that positive. So it won't be online this year now as anticipated, but they're projecting spring.
Well, we do a really good job of making our government bigger. I mean, that one sheet has $140 million worth of government buildings in it, which doesn't bring people into the community. It might benefit the people somewhat in the community, but it doesn't promote the community, doesn't make people want to live here. It doesn't increase the quality of life that much. So we need to do something. We need to focus some of our attention, not $140 million for this stuff, but we need to focus some of our attention on sustainability of our county and people that want to live here, raise their kids here, be here for 50, 60, 70 years. And the only way to do it is to do something major. You know what I mean? We don't have any natural stuff, so we have to do something.
Yes.
We have to do something to keep it going.
Well, I've pointed that out before when people say, well, we're not the north side, and the north side doesn't have beaches or mountains either. They built everything that attracts visitors, and we will have to do that too.
We did mention maybe putting a zip slide from the top of the
That was
courthouse.
Jim's idea. Jim wants a
They
zip
were
line.
excited about
You
that.
zip it to my house, and then I don't have to drive?
The world's tallest zips.
That'd be a long zip.
Be a long zip.
But in talking with people like this that have the potential of helping to do something significant with the courthouse in the future, they're all interested in the fact that we are keeping the courthouse up. Nobody wants to take over something that is in need of a lot of maintenance. So it is significant that we're obviously keeping it up.
Have you talked to our new Parks Department board about what their vision might be, and on a bigger scale that would benefit the entire county?
Parks did recently do a survey, and there is a member of the Parks Board who is also a Tourism Board member. So I feel confident that those findings and those discussions will be
Come together.
integrated. Yeah. Because that's another good point. The county owns their parks, and so if there's something to be erected that turns out to be the best idea, we just talked about when we don't own it, it's a little more complicated to be involved in funding it. Your options are more limited, so parks is certainly worth looking at. Any questions? We'll let you know more if we hear more.
When they get their survey done, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah, I think they're gonna also put out a survey potentially on their website. So if that comes out, we'll point you to plug your thoughts in.
Thank you. I guess the coroner, Rudy?
Morning, Rudy Nylund and Alex Barnes with the Hancock County Coroner's Office. I'm going to let Alex Barnes talk to you about the request of transitioning our part-time employee to a full-time employee.
Morning. I've kind of been heading up this project at Rudy's request, so I'd like to thank him for letting me do this. But we presented yesterday to the commissioners, and just to kind of refresh your memories, a little over a year ago, we came before you all at a joint meeting between commissioners and council requesting a full-time position for what would have been this year, and received a favorable recommendation from our commissioners. And when it came time to submit budgets for 27, Rudy and I talked, and we felt in order to be more fiscally responsible with taxpayer dollars, that we should probably start with a part-time office position, just to kind of do that as a trial run to see how things would go. And as we're nearing the end of the second quarter for this year, we've realized that having somebody in the office has just been pivotal for our office. I mean, we've been able to do way more than we ever have. Just having consistent coverage for call outs, assistance with administrative needs and tasks. There's more than enough work to have a full-time person in this role. So there's definitely, enough for the need, but the other thing that we're running into as well, without getting too far into it, is the current person that is fulfilling this part-time position for us has informed us that they would likely not able to be continuing in that role unless it was offered as a full-time position, just because they need benefits in this society. And that would be really hard for us to backfill that position if we lost this employee. They do a really good job for us, and this position's kind of twofold. It's administrative, so you can really train anybody to do good office work for you and everything. The other half is the investigative part of it, which you do have to go through specialized training to do. And the training is only offered twice a year in the state of Indiana. And coincidentally, in this last legislative session, there was a House Enrolled Act that said that anyone that performs a death investigation without having the proper training commits a Class B misdemeanor. So we really can't just hire somebody new that doesn't have experience. So that's something that we really and then the sheet that I prepared for you here, based off of our calculations, we're requesting that position to be paid an annual salary of just over $50,000. So if you take that $50,000 and subtract it from what they're currently getting paid in that part-time capacity of just under 25, we're really only requesting an additional $26,000 to fund the salary, and then of course we would need the funding for the benefits. And then the remainder of that 40 total is just to increase our part-time hours for our true part-time staff that go out like in the middle of the nights and stuff like that. So, but we've seen, to sum it up, we've seen just a huge positive impact, not just for our office, but if we got other departments up here too, our law enforcement partners, our 911 center, it's taken burdens off of them as well.
So I have a question. If the person that's on the days in the office and they get a call, they need a death investigation, will they go out or will they send somebody?
No, they go out.
So the office would have to be closed at times, right?
Yeah, but it's few and far between. And it's really not just for death investigations. There's obviously, and almost last year, 50% of our investigations were heard Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And Rudy and I both have our own full-time jobs and always have the latitude to just be able to drop at the whim of a hat to leave, tend to that.
Alex, not to interrupt, but you might want to make mention that the individual that's working Monday through Friday is covering about 50% of the calls that you've got, and they're not getting the additional pay.
No, they're not.
They are just getting their salary, period.
Yep.
And so there is a savings on the backside of that.
Yeah, there would be, yeah. And one thing that we're also doing too is a lot of the calls that come in during the day are hospital referrals. So there's a lot less work that is involved with the hospital referrals because it's paperwork. So we're actually going to reduce rather than a full scene. Wow.
I assume you've submitted your budget for 27, and this is in that budget, right? Okay. So this is informational and will
So
be in the
other,
request.
other deputies get paid per investigation, and this full-time person could potentially, you wouldn't have to call out the other people as much.
Correct.
So there is some savings in the scenario.
For me, I mean, I understand the benefits are 40,000, but for me, it's the same as we discussed last year, which is, I know not to put Rudy into place this year, but the next term, I still think this coroner should be considered to be a full-time position for the next term. That the coroner would be doing this stuff. But that'd be something for the commissioners, not for us. Only for us to fund it.
We do look upon this as favorable for the county and for the coroner's office, making that part-time position full-time.
Yes, I'm trying to, fortunately, I've never had to deal with the coroner's office, so this is a little bit of a learning curve for me as well. But
It's
you
coming
both,
to a theater near all of us someday.
No, you don't.
I'll see you someday. You both have full-time jobs, so you do not dedicate any hours that are typical 8 to 4, Monday through Friday, to the coroner's office because you're at your full-time jobs.
Speaking for myself, I have usually 2 days a month that I am off, compensate for some on-call time at my other jobs.
When do you work for the coroner's office if you have a full-time job?
Weekends for when I'm on call, when I get called out, stuff like that.
Same here. The Monday through Friday job takes away the need of having someone on call. We have someone on call 24 hours every day of the week. Usually whenever we have a coroner's call, we usually have actually not just one point of contact with that situation, but 3. One with that situation. We will also have another meeting point with family. We also have another meeting point with either the funeral home or autopsy. We're always at every autopsy. So it's not just a 2 or 3 hour scene. There's always at least 3 episodes of follow-up. So that is also where the full-time person would help out with some of that secondary and third work.
So if you were to call, if an individual called the coroner's office during the normal hours of a workday, will they have to leave a message or will they actually get a person?
Or they used to. Before, we didn't have anyone in the office, you could go an hour, sometimes an hour and a half before we respond, which in turn ties up law enforcement because they have to stay on the scene until you get there.
But yes, it's definitely a dual role. They will be administrative, but they will be performing the scene coroner work during that task.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Rudy.
Brent? Brent Eaton?
He's standing outside.
Get the phone.
Morning, everybody.
Morning.
Long time no see. How can I help you this morning? This is the same request that I was at the council previously. I'd sent a memo prior to that meeting. I was with the commissioners relatively recently. I had sent them a memo on the same subject prior to that meeting. This is the same request I had made last year. And so I think the subject's been covered exhaustively. I'm certainly happy to answer questions if they're there, but this is, that's the manner in which I made the request last year. I did have those 2 memos and appeared before the council commissioners both prior to today. And so I don't know that there's anything new, but if there is, I'll be happy to do my best to answer questions. Hi, Jim.
And I assume in your 27 budget, you put this in.
We did.
Are you still looking at, I'm just referring back to my May agenda, the attorney, deputy prosecutor would be 99,800, then plus benefits. That's what I've written down.
With
The package would be about 153,000.
That's with benefits, right?
Uh-huh.
That's with benefits.
Yeah, that's with
I
benefits.
can't read it.
Oh, it's 99,834
With
with benefits, base salary at 84,000.
And that's just the deputy prosecutor, or does that include the paralegal?
That's just the deputy
Just the
prosecutor.
deputy prosecutor.
Realistically, I'd probably try to come in a little bit below that if I, really depends on what the market's like and then what it is.
And this is a 2027
question?
request.
It's a 27 request. Yep, information. Thank you, Brent.
Okay.
Any other questions of him? Nope. Thank you.
You know, I guess the one thing I would say is it was something where I would ask people to recall that probation did come over and indicated the benefit to the efficiency in our operations. This would also have, should be a lot of benefits for both of us because the juvenile area is a place where both of us work together a lot. And so, I mean, ultimately, it's just a matter of time, is that the juvenile justice area is an area where we have had increasing concerns of firearm crimes and more serious crimes, as well as some more just really, really reckless crimes. And we're currently only able to file about 25 to 30% of those. The process is a little bit cumbersome and difficult for law enforcement to understand. And on a long enough timeline, the system as it was built to be able to handle children that were stealing candy bars is not really effective at handling children that have firearms or engage in substantially reckless or dangerous behavior. And so on a long enough timeline, this is going to have to be fixed. We've worked with both probation for a number of years, but really and truly that system is at a stressed point where it's beginning to fray. So that was the nature of my request last year and this year. And I, again, look forward to answering any questions you all may have. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Shall we take a break until 9:30 for the Ag Association?
Is there any old business?
There was one that I skipped.
Okay.
I put in your packet here of the circuit breaker. And so I did want you to know that for the county share of the 10% or 300, the number we projected was 870. The actual number was 889. So we weren't very far off on that, and thanks to the auditor's office helping us. What did increase fairly significantly, 167,000. We're now going to be at 1.4 million or so for circuit breaker. So that's going to be, when I told you that the growth quotient is going to be about 5.6%. We're going to yield maybe 4% of that on real dollars because we're going to lose another 167 here. And when the 5.6 gets employed in everybody else's budget, we'll probably lose another 150,000. So our circuit breaker is going up quite dramatically. Remember, circuit breaker means you'll budget $100 in property taxes, but you'll realize 95 in cash. So that's a real loss.
And how have we taken care of that?
Pardon me?
And how have we anticipated that?
Well, we projected it within the sustainability, but you have not projected to that level, so it will be additional lost revenue.
So you're going to make an update to the sustainability?
Yes.
And add in the extra income tax?
Correct.
Okay.
If you do yes, I'm assuming you'll be doing that, yes, for added. So,
Greg,
yep.
why was the reason that it went up so much?
So it is, obviously, people have built into their budget, their growth quotients and things like that. And keep in mind, AV's going down. You might not see it in your home, depending on the value of your home, But remember that 5-year trend on AV that I said for homes with the new supplemental lits and all those. That's why we've been very, very cautious in the sustainability, talking about maybe, have you heard anything on net AV?
I have not yet, but I did want to talk about the whole portal that AIC is doing.
Yeah, okay.
So
I just need
they're
to get with Sarah.
plugging some numbers
And
for them
I have
last
her
group. They're gonna come and we're gonna have a few surrounding teams or inviting the council.
Oh, when is that?
We haven't got it scheduled
Okay,
yet,
let me know.
but,
Yeah.
I did say, well, I would
Yeah.
definitely want right there, but they're only giving the auditor across the state the password, so I don't know if you've heard anything about it, so I think there's a conversation, as soon as I can get more information that we can have.
Yeah, and so that's a little separate from what we're talking about here on, but on AV, but that'll be also the interaction of lit. But and no reason to be sorry, but AV should be, it may not be that stronger growth. So,
I think that when Nicole's coming down, and I'll have her bring whatever she's got,
Yeah.
but I don't think we have anything yet.
so we were talking about maybe 1 or 2% growth in gross AV after you take out TIF, and then you continue the reductions on homes. So it'll be interesting to see where the next year or two really comes out. But that, Robin, is a direct relationship to the circuit breaker. And remember, the goal of the state is to push us the $3. So, okay.
Anything else that you got?
No, I don't think there was anything else in your packet, and Bill and I are going to talk a little later, but about the building permits.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Thank you. Let's take a break.
Because know all the lingo, they know what to look
If we can start making our way back, we're going to reconvene the meeting.
Oh, yeah. But he's,
Privacy is off.
I'm glad that's part of the thing that came out.
The only thing I need to do, let me ask you this. So the one thing I forgot to give them was one of these
Robin, we're going to start back up.
stand on, and it's like a battery. Where can I? Okay.
Jim Shelby had to depart us, but we will restart the meeting and proceed. Debbie VanSickle with the Ag Association.
Good morning. As Keely said, I'm Debbie VanSickle, and I serve as the Vice President of the Ag Association as well as our Buildings and Grounds Committee. Also with me is Rob Barnhart, who serves as our Property Manager. So at the end of this, if you have questions, we can provide hopefully most of the answers. For the past 18 months, we've been trying to do upgrades to our facilities so that we can increase revenue. Our facility for a number of years, I don't want to say depleted itself with attractiveness and functionality, but the dollars weren't there. So with your help of the $1.5 million that you originally allocated for us, we've been able to do some considerable upgrades, like fixing the tiles leading from the block bathrooms that are down by the carnival to the city sewer that we had to shut down in the middle of a fair one year. We put new bleachers in the exhibit hall. We feel like that increased our safety because we were able to do handrails and steps. We were also able to add some handicap areas. We installed a site-wide PA system. This way we can announce from 4 different places so that if we have an emergency such as weather or a child is lost or any other type of emergency, we would have quick ability to get that announced. Paved the area behind the Pioneer Building so that we could accommodate our handicap parking. We also paved between the commercial and Pioneer buildings. That has helped with our drainage. We have currently finished the restrooms in the West Commons building. This was something we started 3 years ago. Several roadblocks happened, but we are now going to have those functioning at this year's fair, and that building is where the Farm Bureau Dairy Bar is, the police, the Sheriff's Department, and the Lemonade Shake-Up. And we've also done a lot of infrastructure that you can't see but was much needed. We're ready to start phase 2 of that original plan that we discussed 18 months ago, but we've had to halt because the original money that we had been discussed for that phase was negated earlier this year. So we decided until we had money in hand, we would stop on any more construction. But it also gave us the opportunity to do a comprehensive plan. And we decided it was time for us to have an extensive vision of what we would like to see our fairgrounds become in the next 5 to 10 years. We feel like it's something that can benefit the whole community, and we wanted to have an entire plan for that. It gave us time to evaluate it, and we feel like with what we can do at the fairgrounds, it will create this recreational corridor on the east side of the city that may not have been emphasized in the past. It could start with Hawks Tail, which is south of 40 on Apple Street, and continue all the way through up to McKenzie. To get started, we've been working with Delve Designs. It's a company out of Fishers that deals in niche markets like what we have. So far, they have been excellent to work with and coming up with really good ideas on what we can do with the limited ground that we currently have. They have come with a master plan, and I have distributed that to you before I started speaking. Even though it's in its infancy, we feel like it gives us a great place to head and gives us an idea of what the major benefit of the fairgrounds could be if we could develop it. If you would go to page 4 of that plan, you will see an overhead view of what the fairgrounds currently looks like. You notice there's a blue arrow, and that is signifying our current flow through the fairgrounds. As they have made the comment, we're basically now coming in the back door, having to go through all the livestock portion of our fairgrounds to actually get to our most rentable building. Later in the plan, I'll show you how they suggested that that would be better. If we move on to page 6, you will see what we are focusing on a demolition and retention plan. The structures colored in the lighter orange are the ones we're going to stay, as they are just needing some possible minor upgrades, or we've already done some things to it. The 2 in turquoise, the exhibit hall and the bowl, are the ones that we have focused on for phase 2 to renovate. And the ones that are on the deeper orange are targeted for major renovations and a key to our vision. Moving on to the next page, this shows what we want to accomplish over the next 5 to 10 years. Building 13 would be a new building, and it would be designed for storage, and we would like to move that to phase 2 because we think we need that right now. We have very limited storage on the fairgrounds, and there are just some big equipment such as risers and A-frames and things that we use just for the fairgrounds that we're constantly have to move. So we were hoping that the storage would help with that. Building 2 would be the expansion of the exhibit hall, which we've also named in phase 2. Buildings 3 and 10 are our big dreams. Building 3 is currently the commercial building. It's where we have our vendors during the fair, but we also use it for some storage throughout the non-fair months. This would increase our footprint of that particular building so that it would help us build a building that would seat 500 people with a commercial kitchen, small storage area, and additional restrooms. It could be used for corporate meetings, wedding venue and receptions, regional business staff retreats, trainings, and many other things that may probably have not thought of at this point. Building 10 would be the building that would become a year-round climate-controlled building that would be rented out for events. Currently, we have had to turn down because we don't have the structures to accommodate them. During the fair, where that footprint is our current swine and cattle barns. At that time, if we could build a structure like that, we would house most of our livestock in. But outside of that, some of the events that have contacted Rob to possibly have in that building would be a small flower and patio show, regional livestock shows, an international food show, large equipment trainings, and the list is extensive. We also have 2 current ones, the Rock and Gym Show, that would like to find another building, and they already accommodate 3 of ours for their event. And that brings in international people. On pages 9 and 10 are observations that the architects have made. On page 9, you can see that the pink, that goes back to the current traffic flow, which shows that there's a little bit of chaos. In the discussions with them, they noticed that we have a main gate that was originally part of the plans when the fairgrounds was built. It now has guardrails, it has our sign, but there's no entry off of that. And from everything that I've tried to find, I do not know why that was closed off. I'm sure there was something maybe with the city, but we would like to open that up. And as you can see from the diagram, what that would do with the flow to our 2 most rentable buildings. On the following pages is another concept for the north side. One of the things, our multi-purpose arena is very functional. We're limited sometimes what events we can have over there because the weather is never cooperative with us, and ideally we would like to be able to cover that. So in order to create the necessary documents, we need to be able to have some architectural drawings, renderings, so that we can start the process of getting input on what that facility and people's ideas, even though those of us on the Fair Board and the Buildings and Grounds have come up with these ideas so that we could show it to you today, it is no way the final plan. So we were going to need some architectural drawings. We're also wanting to create this so that whoever we're talking to, everybody sees the same plan, whether it's county, city, private donors, community, we're all talking the same thing, and we think a professional plan would be the best route to go. We, as an ag association, want to be good community partners, and we feel like these upgrades to our facility are an investment in the community. We would also like to ask for the Phase 2 project funding at this time to be allocated as well, so that we can continue to generate revenue and upgrade the buildings so that we can become self-sustaining. Originally, for Phase 2, we had asked for $1.75 million to cover the projects. Now with some renovations and some things that have been delayed because of the lift station, the costs have gone up. So our ask is $2.1 million. With the other piece of paper I gave you as our tentative plan for what we would like to do for Phase 2. With that, the fee for architectural drawings and the conceptual drawings that we need is $84,000, and I would like to ask for that in addition to, so that those kind of planning costs aren't taken out of what we're trying to build. So at this time, I'd entertain any questions you have or
Questions?
I do have a question. How much financial advisement or how much financial investment does the Ag Association have in this project?
We have operating expenses. Like the fair is our biggest fundraiser. We are putting every dime we can available into it.
I'm
our fair that got depleted over the years because we were trying to do updates. So right now I've applied for grants. We are doing everything we can, and anything that we raise money for goes back into the fairgrounds. So a lot of the things that aren't listed are things that we have to take care of.
Does the association have the ability to potentially pay for an architectural design plan?
Not at this time. Not with the expenses that we have coming up with the fair and upkeep and just general paying for utilities.
Well, the fairgrounds granted the city an easement for the wells or whatever.
The lift station.
The lift station and stuff like that. And then turned around. Did you receive compensation for that easement?
We got some in-kind trades and $8,000 compensation for the ground.
What did they charge you to hook up to the lift station?
$25,000.
25. So then the city turned around and charged the Ag Association $25,000 to hook up to the lift station that they basically donated the ground to. That was exciting.
We had to pay for all the materials as well. So.
The gift that keeps on giving.
Yes. And it took a year longer than what the original contract was, and we've not been compensated for that.
It doesn't look like the city a very partnership. I saw that there's $25,000 on here, Roger pointed out, for city permits.
Yes.
I mean, we're talking over $100,000 just in this little short conversation.
I know. It's amazing. And everybody who comes into the fairgrounds spends money in the city.
Yes.
I mean, you can't get to the fairgrounds, you can't eat, you can't do nothing in town without, and we've already proven that the majority of the people that come from out of county end up being in the fairgrounds at one point or the other with the tracking.
Tourism, because we have worked with tourism to get grants for some things that we have, did, the geofencing, and they can document that every time we have an activity at our fairgrounds, the innkeeper's tax goes up because of all the hotels being rented, and the food and beverage tax goes up. So we feel like that's an asset for the county,
Well, I'm impressed at the long-term vision because I spent a lot of time working on moving the fairgrounds. And I couldn't conceive how we could continue on in the current fairgrounds, okay? I just didn't have that in my brain on how in the future that could continue to thrive. But this plan, master plan, everything, is a lot better than I personally could have thought of myself. You know what I mean? And it does address a lot of the issues that you have larger buildings now and things like that. They're, in the future that will accommodate more people coming in, spending more money, and we really lack that in our whole county, is trying to get that to happen. So I applaud the effort and everything, because it is very nice compared to, I don't know why we kind of shut off that, let's don't, but then when it didn't happen, the new fairgrounds didn't happen, then you got to do something like this. You got to just keep going.
And just some little history, the fairgrounds was purchased in 1955. And from everything that I can find, they had to come up with $10,000 down payment in 2 weeks. And that was done with a lot of $1 and $5 bills. It fell short, so the county loaned them the money to purchase the fairgrounds. And so everything I found that was paid back. The first building that was built is the cattle barn, and that was in 1956, and it's still standing. The swine barn was built in 57. It's still standing, but they're in major, major need of repair. And then the exhibit hall, which was the original show arena and fair office, was built in, I believe, 1960. So we've made the best use of our funds when we've done something.
Well, the Ag Association, everybody, I've told this 1,000 times, I assume everybody knows, had their own tax rate. And in I think it was the early 90s.
1993.
Yeah, okay, the early 90s, the council went to the ag and said, we'll give you $80,000 or $60,000 a year if you'll give us your tax rate, because we need it to survive. And the Ag Association at that time shouldn't have, but they did. They said, you're the county fathers here, go ahead, we'll live it. Of course, that's $60,000 then 30 years later, basically, has only been bumped a little bit.
Yes.
But the tax rate would be pushing, I think $700,000 or $800,000 a year now if they would have kept it. So the Ag Association would have had a new fairgrounds by now. They would buy another facility. They would have done all that stuff in the last 10, 20 years that they've been working on, because they would have had their own money.
Yes.
And, I always said, if we don't want to help them, give them their tax rate back. And everybody goes, oh, you can't give them their tax rate back. Well, if we can't, then we need to figure out how to help them. And we have the money to help them. And we have food and beverage, and we have other things that are coming in that we can help them with.
But the question I have is, where do we come up with 2.1 million?
Well, Greg.
That's the question here. I don't
Right.
think, I don't think anybody here is going to say we hate ag. I don't think anybody up here says that. But we're all looking at this going, okay, where do we find 2.1 million in the next year versus finding 500,000 next year, 500,000 next year?
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying? That's the problem.
Well, and I guess let's complete the story. So if it's 2.1 plus 85, but what is the next tranche then? Because that was coming with another 2 million. So I think let's complete the story and not isolate it to 1 year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Jim had suggested some combination of food and beverage and economic development income tax. Am I remembering that correctly?
That is what I told him would be the two reasonable sources at this point in time. But again, I guess, Deb, do you know the rest of the story? What was tranche number 3? It was 2 million. Is that grown to 3 million now or something?
Because things have gotten delayed, we have a feeling everything's going to be bumped out. But that's why we decided to stop and do a comprehensive plan so that we had a better vision of how we're going to go about this. When we originally met in October of '24, that was a very quick thing, and that was like, if we could dream, here's what we would like. Well, now we have a better idea.
So given the plan, what's tranche number 3?
It would probably be trying to build the front building.
Which would be
the commercial. We have not gotten those. This plan with the architects, we have gotten done in 2.5 weeks so that we could have it for this presentation. So to say that we have sat down and figured out all those steps, that's probably not going to happen until after the fair, since it's 2 weeks away.
Yeah. So I guess, Keely, we need a timeline. We need a cash flow over the next 12 months. We need to know what phase 3 may or may not look like. And I think we can come back and answer the question.
Then I think at this point, the question is whether the council has the will to fund the process of getting those. I mean, my understanding that the 84,000 would provide some of those, that study provides some of those answers, correct?
Yes, that would also, even in phase 2, with what we need to do to the front of, or the exhibit hall, just take that alone, we have to get some architectural drawings. We've already been told that we can't proceed without that.
By the city, the city
Correct.
will require you to have
Yes.
certain credentials behind your.
Yes.
That happened as well with that little building, right? You
Yes.
guys had to spend
Yes.
$20,000 on. Yeah, they wanted to do some small modifications to a small existing building, and the city wouldn't allow it without tens of thousands of dollars worth of architectural.
City not budgeting any?
No, they are not.
For you guys at the current time for this year and next year? And just
Never.
So you have an expectation?
Currently, we have not had that relationship, and I am in the process of building that with the mayor, the city council, but that's why we felt like we needed to have a plan to start building that relationship. I don't know what their expectations are, but there has not been the kind of generosity, even in kind, that you have
At a minimum,
shown.
just to waive the fees.
Well, that's as we have talked. That would have been a great way to make an investment.
So can we look at, the timelines may not match up, okay? The project may, but the timelines may not match up or whatever. And there's multiple ways to fund the project moving forward. Because we're talking about other things, tourism, all kinds of other things helping. We're talking about, 2 or 3 funds from us being able, and instead of writing one check for a big amount, can we negotiate a way to fund this project?
So yeah, that's why I was saying we kind of need we need a 24-month cash flow, because if we're going to fund it like we're doing the jail maintenance building, we need to know the outflows, and we need to make the inflows match the outflows. And the more time we've got, the better off it is for cash funding.
Right. But one thing we know right now is nothing happens until we get more architectural, till we get more paperwork done.
That appears to be step 1.
Okay.
Yes.
And I would make the motion that we fund the 84,000 out of food and beverage right now, even before we finish figuring out how, because that's immediate need, even before we finish it.
Do we have the money allocated for 84,000 in food and beverage currently, Madam Auditor?
We don't have it allocated for that, no.
Appropriated.
No, appropriated.
We have money that we could appropriate, we don't have to.
Okay.
You don't
Do we
have
have
to
to, do we have to do a thumbs up? Okay.
No, we do not. You have to make a motion if you want us to pay it out.
Ken, is that a motion?
That is my motion.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second on the floor to fund $84,000 from food and beverage towards architectural consultancy and renderings for the Ag Association. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, motion passes. Yeah,
Have you talked to HEDC at all about, I mean, to me, the fairgrounds qualify for some economic development look that, they can commit to, because we discussed earlier, reviewing that 5% because it's growing at a rate that we think's way more than we thought it would grow at the beginning. There should be ample money available there to shift towards other projects. And I'd like to see a commitment from them as well to the fairgrounds, because that to me is tourism.
And Jim
is economic development at its heart.
Mm-hmm. I believe, Jim is HEDC through the end of the year, and I was of the belief he's kind of mentioned it in executive committee as one of several things that could be funded.
I'm not on the executive, but I attend the meetings with Jim, the regular meetings.
That's something, I mean, if we're going to look at everything, I think the city,
and
their permits and their fees.
Yes.
And the monies that are sitting in that 5% fund that could help you, why aren't we looking at that?
Yes. And I just don't think in the past that as a board, they were trying to keep their head above water. And now we have people on the board that's like, okay, let's have an idea. And now we're trying to find the resources. And we know there's going to be all kinds of delays. It's just how construction works. So this may spread over 3 years on phase 2 versus this year and next year, because we have to also work around the things so that when we have events there that are paying to be there, that we're not in their way so that they don't come back. But I wanted to give you a comprehensive idea. This is the total we're looking at, and that we know that we're gonna try every avenue we possibly can to help get this going.
Well, and I want everybody to appreciate all this work that the Ag Association does. They're not making it, it's all volunteer, okay? You know what I'm saying? I mean, Debbie how many thousands of dollars have you made in your life off the Ag Association? A big goose egg. Yeah, so, but it's a lifelong, I've learned it's a lifelong task. I've been in it most of my life through my father, trying to figure out how to get to an end game where we have quality stuff, you know what I mean? But I think with the timeline going to have to be moved around a little bit and stuff, I think that we should invest, the county should invest in getting this. That's why I kind of said earlier, we have $140 million of county buildings that we're looking at over the future, and we're not planning on helping, this is really not that big of a scenario.
Well, I think, they've got the fair coming up, which will obviously keep them very busy over the next month. With this allocation of funding, they can start what I assume is a multi-month process, right, of getting those things. And then you'll bring those findings back here for further discussion. And at that time, we can evaluate what we feel we can do with cash flow.
I really appreciate it, Debbie. For me personally, all the work you guys put in.
Well, we feel like it's kind of a hidden jewel in the community that maybe not is being utilized to its full potential. And there are several of us on the fair boards. This is a legacy to us. And it has amazed me when I've looked at a lot of the history, the condition of our fairgrounds for what the age of the structures are. And all we're trying to do is upgrade it so that we bring more renters in. And I think it also helps the east side. It's kind of a neglected side of the city. And so we've, believe it or not, one of the things we didn't see coming is a relationship with the VFW. And we're having military day at the fair, and they're like, here, we want to sponsor it. Here, we want to give you flags. So I think there's other relationships out there that can benefit us as well. And we just now scratching the surface. But we needed just some dollars that we don't currently have to get the whole process started.
I think in the future with the potential development of the State Road 9 corridor, especially getting more focus on ag there, I mean, those types of companies probably be looking to utilize that space to take customers to that space. I mean, it could tie in real nice with some of the plans that are being developed up there, and again, continue to grow everything else within the city and within the county. So I think there's a real synergy there in the next 5 to 15 years.
Well, Rob just landed a Comic-Con, small convention here. And one of the reasons they're coming here is one, they can't afford Indianapolis, but our hotels are 1.5 miles away. That was one of the things he talked to Rob about.
Well, we did extensive work. Hendricks County's hotels are 30 minutes from site. And it drives those people crazy over there, the vendors and stuff, that they have to go all the way back out to Indianapolis and we don't have that issue here. So it's, it's a great benefit if we can just keep it and upgrade it and add some things and, yep.
Yeah, and there is data to show that the fairgrounds, in terms of a site, is basically one of the largest drivers of tourism to Hancock County, tourism meaning an out-of-county visitor. And so there are studies from years past that showed what that produces in innkeeper's tax, but also food and beverage tax. You know, food and beverage, there is, benefits to food and beverage from the events that happen at the fairgrounds.
Tourism did a cell phone compilation a few years ago. Okay, I was a part of that project. I'm off the top of my head, I'm thinking it was 68% of every cell phone that comes in from out of county pings at the fairgrounds at some point. Because they were trying to decide, people coming to the trail, people coming, people out of county coming to our county for something, where are they coming to? And like 68% of those pings came from the fairgrounds. And that says a lot when you're talking about the whole county. They could go anywhere, because we don't have other things though. We just don't have them.
We have a national sheep show that is coming to the fairgrounds in July. We've about outgrown it, and it brings in exhibitors from 17 states that stay at the hotels for 4 nights.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we appreciate you keeping coming back as we work through it. Deb can help you, like usual with the funding piece, and let us know. I think several of us, if there's any like surveys or brainstorming boards or anything that goes into any of this, let us know so we can stay in the loop.
Well, we appreciate the support you're giving us, and we want to continue the relationship. So if there's any questions, please let us know.
And Greg, will you be, what you mentioned up here, are you in ongoing communication from Project One where you could source the data you think is important regarding cash flow and their process okay, perfect. All right, thank you. All
Debbie,
right.
I would say the same thing from the commissioners too. Please come back to our meetings and share your progress.
Okay.
Normally we have somebody from the reporter here, which that makes great newsworthy things. People know what's going on. We're taking care of the fairgrounds and getting it rebuilt. Get on our agenda maybe quarterly to give us some updates, and we appreciate you and all you do.
Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Debbie.
And invite everyone to the fair. It starts June 19th.
Okay.
Y'all better be there.
I'll be there. All right, next on the agenda, Sheriff Burkhart.
Morning.
Good morning.
You were anticipating me coming up, right?
Oh, never.
All right, the first item on my agenda, and I apologize that I got 4 or 5 different things that I won't be here next meeting, so I had to kind of jam them in before the budget committee, or budget meetings next month, because you can't do anything next month because of hearings. So I needed to get some of these things in, so I apologize that I got so many. So the first item I have on here is a new deputy position. And it is for an SRO for the Amplified school, a vocational school. I've been approached by Amplify, or the Stan that's in charge, the director of that, about SRO being out there. They have come up with a plan for a part-time SRO at the school. To me, that's not appropriate to have a part-time SRO coming and going periodically, at the school when they're going to be at the school 8 to 4 every day. It just doesn't make any sense. And being that building is on county jurisdiction, that's why they've come to me for that. And so I'm looking to add a deputy to fulfill that SRO position out there. And I've went to the RDC to talk about possible funding for that position. And, if it was, and I think maybe it can explain it as well as, too.
Right, it's not, it never has been the county's responsibility for Amplify to fund this for Amplify. Amplify will reimburse the expenses to whatever agency. We can run it through the RDC because we can, it is in the TIF district, it is police and fire, it qualifies for all that stuff. And Amplify, we will reimburse either, the county through RDC probably for this person. These are still school children, whether they're sitting in Greenfield Central or sitting in New Palestine High School. They're still school children that have to be protected. And the best way for us to protect them is with the county sheriff's department. And I'm fully believe that with a resource officer there during the times the school children are, and he has such a big base that if that person has to leave or that person is gone or something, it's easier for him to make up that time. And I don't think we should personally, I don't think we should use an outside agency for that protection. I think it should be in-house. It's a county building, it's county children, and it's from all high schools. So we should be able to give the parents that security that your child is getting the protection that they need. And like I said, we've been very successful with our fundraising in Amplify, and Amplify can reimburse. So it's not like an additional, it's an additional employee, but it's not an unfunded mandate.
Yeah.
So the RDC will be funding it? Did the RDC?
Yeah, we can run it through the RDC, and then Amplify can reimburse back the RDC.
Okay.
We haven't worked out the draws and stuff like that, but it's, and I'm assuming it's
probably roughly 100.
Around 100,000 a year.
Yeah.
Did you explore, again, I want to put the cost on them, but since Greenfield Central now has their own police department, of having it as part of that?
Okay, so the HC3 program is the current program all the schools work under for welding and the trades that are going to be moving into that. And a portion of their cost already has security in it. And the Amplify will get, the HC3 program comes in, so there is some funding that can be captured if we need to from the HC3 program already.
I'm saying just having this SRO under the Greenfield Central Police Department versus the Hancock County Sheriff's Department.
No.
I don't know what
Oh.
makes more sense. I'm just asking.
But we decided
Right.
since it's a county building.
It's out in the county.
County, yeah.
We have deputies out there in the RDC designated for that, that area and stuff already. The backup is wonderful. And that's why I said there's a high level of security if the sheriff's department does it. We have drones, we have, you know what I mean? Rather than going through a separate agency.
No, I just wondered, since that's kind of a newer thing.
Yeah, this is strictly for
Right.
students for the program.
Right.
The evening
Right.
classes that will come through Ivy Tech will take care of their
Correct.
own
Yeah,
security.
yeah, this is for our children that are presently enrolled in our school systems in the county.
I also
the 8
think
to
that
4.
from a liability standpoint, for the county,
Right. Yeah, we're already liable for what happens. We might as well make sure that we're protected.
Well, I think we're only liable for the building. I mean,
Well,
we own the building, and that's pretty much
Right.
where the county stops.
right. Yeah, but we're putting county school children in that.
Oh, I
bucket.
get that. I am all for it.
And if
the
there was
SRO.
ever an event or something, you know what I'm saying?
We'd be in
You're gonna get named.
Well, we would be drug into it. but-
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're doing the best we can. I think this is what I would call doing the most we can, not leaving any stone unturned.
So it sounds like, it's the amount of money that we could appropriate that the RDC. will
Right,
be
the RDC can
reimbursed
appropriate, we'll put
through
it in the
Amplify at that
RDCs.
time.
And we'll pay it out of, but you need to hire somebody because school starts
Well,
in 60 days.
so, and it doesn't work.
Sheriff.
So yeah, the recommendation to RDC then, is that what you need?
Yeah, that's fine. We've already talked about it.
We have, and so, I mean, what my understanding is so I put it in my budget for 27. I put it in the general fund to be reimburse the general fund for that position through RDC.
27?
For 27.
What about the rest of this year?
Well, then, I mean, it's not that easy to just hire a deputy. I mean, right now, I mean, it takes some time to do some of those things. I think right now I'm going to have to look at, pulling somebody from the road currently to be able to do that until we can establish a new person. That's my thought right now, is to be able to do that, because I anticipated not having any funding for it until obviously the new budget cycle in January. So, 6 months from, August till December, looking to hire a spot. You're not going to put a new person in there. I'm not going to hire a new person, or we're not going to hire a new person and just say, hey, this is what you're going to do. It would probably come from our current rank and then replace that person.
And again, I don't know a lot about the
Yes.
ends of your reserve deputies. Is that something that someone like that could take care of for the rest of this year?
No, because reserves, they're trained and they go through a thing, and you might be able to use them here and there, but for a full-time SRO spot, you really want a tier 1 academy person there, all times. If we're going to do it and do it right, I think. We have special deputies at different locations doing things, at different schools.
Do the reserve deputies get mass shooting training and stuff like that?
They do locally. We do. We do. They're trained. They go through. The only thing they don't do different than us is they don't go to the police academy. They don't get tier 1 training.
So it's in your budget for general fund, but it should be coming out of them.
Well, I don't know.
For reimbursement, but I don't know how, that's what I said. The auditor's going to have to lead us on.
Yeah, I didn't put anything, and we didn't talk to Gary
I don't
on
know
the
how
reimbursement
DLGF's gonna-
piece, so I just put it somewhere to start
I
with.
do know it's legal for the
Yes.
RDC to fund police and fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But being that you said, the conversation was for the reimbursement, I assumed it needed to go to the general fund and reimburse the general fund for it. But I don't know.
Definitely need an amount, and the Amplify board will have to vote to
Right. That's true. We've already talked about it
And
at
we meet
Amplify
next week.
also. But we've also already reimbursed, the RDC reimburses the county for police and fire.
Yeah.
Or for police. We already have
4 officers.
4 officers in that
And
budget.
it is in that budget now, and so this could technically, I suppose, go in that budget and not
Right,
do the
and it'd just
reimbursement.
be an additional to
Yeah.
that.
an additional one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That Amplify would be paying it.
Yes.
So I mean, I could take it out of the general and put it into that, but that would just have to be done later, I suppose.
Yeah, and at the July meeting, when we do the budget hearings,
Yeah.
we can kind of reassess. Deb will check into how we're gonna cash flow it. Is that the way I understand, like from our,
Probably, I don't know if it'll be if we'll already sealed.
like bill them or?
I don't know how we'll do it. We'll have to look at a process, honestly.
Right.
We'll have to.
Well, we have the auditor on the Amplify board, and,
Can we bring that up next week at our meeting there too, about that process and how that
We'll
works?
bring that up.
Yeah.
So,
Can you give us an estimate, just
I'll
so at the
text it.
Amplified Board meeting, that we have an
100,000.
idea of what we're talking about? And does that include benefits, or are we talking just the salary?
It depends on which officer he picks too.
Yeah, well, not necessarily because, well, if I put it in the, yeah, you're right, it does. You're roughly looking for a new deputy about 100, and I figured with benefits about $102,000 total.
Again?
102, to make it happen with all the benefits.
Does that include benefits?
Yeah.
Benefits?
Yeah. And that's, there again, that's a rough guess on my figuring.
But we could tell the Amplified Board what we're thinking.
Yeah.
okay.
And they kind of, I mean, they also have, I mean, we have a budget already in the RDC line item. I mean, we have deputies in there already.
Right.
And so we can kind of see where they're at based off of that too. And if we need to shift it, we can shift it. Yeah.
So at this point, Brad already submitted his budget. It's in the general fund, so we can note that when we get to budgets, it is in that number. In the meanwhile, will you guys be discussing this at the RDC meeting next week at all? Brad will be out of town.
we can conclude
Amplify
it,
meets next week,
basically.
too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Going on next week, so I won't be able to talk about it.
Tell us if if RDC's gonna be reimbursed, or if we're gonna reimburse back to the county, or if it's already set up for officers through RDC,
Yeah,
then.
we'll just follow that same process. The thing is, we decide to say.
Okay, that's,
Well,
I mean, this is not a situation I don't think we can avoid, so I mean, and.
And I think
like
everybody's
said,
on board.
I think everybody's on board, and we're getting a lot of support from all the companies and from all the community and everything for Amplify. And we're getting support from our legislators, we're getting support from everybody. And so,
What happens if the RDC decides to stop funding it, though?
Yeah, I was gonna say, the RDC, that'll give us a chance to talk to our consultant, because I'm on the E911 board, and we ask about funding something, and Gary said 27 is gonna be really tight, I don't think we can, so.
well, but it's gonna be reimbursed.
This is reimbursable, though.
Well, I know,
Yeah.
but we have to have the money.
Have that front.
Well, yeah.
It might be eventually when the board and everything gets going, that they could go ahead and maybe they might go a different direction. But for right now, I think with the county and the ties that we have in that building, it's important to start here.
Do you think it's cleaner to go through the RDC reimbursement or budget? And one that trumps the other?
I don't know how we do that.
I feel it'd be easier just to include it in
What we're doing
in what we're
now.
doing already. It just adds an additional deputy to that, and then it's just a done deal at that point.
Well, I meant the county when I said that. I meant the county. I
So
meant the county when I said sheriff's department.
Yeah.
So it sounds like we won't have any updates next meeting, next Wednesday per se. Sheriff will be out of town. Kent's gonna and Robin will go to the RDC.
Amplify
Mary
meets on
will-
Tuesday.
Oh, they will do it before, so maybe next Wednesday, if you have any updates, let us know. But is everyone, generally speaking, ready to move forward in finalizing the logistics of that? If not, say so now.
Yeah, because that helps me decide going forward in August what to do. Because if I know I'm going to get a spot, then that helps. Hey, we're going to replace the spot that's going to be there. So.
Yeah, no, I think we have consensus here to move forward, yeah.
Okay. Just figuring it out. All right. Appreciate it. Thank you much. We'll work on that. And there, I mean, I know things are going to be tight the next few years. Obviously, I'm done in a few months. But, there's going to be a time, the new sheriff coming in will be coming in and going to need more deputies for the county. I mean, as this county, I'm just saying, as this county grows, you got to have public safety and the infrastructure. And so somewhere along the line, we're going to
We're
be.
also getting annexed a lot, so we're
Yeah,
getting less and less land.
Yeah, but
of
more people,
annexation.
more volume, more people coming
They're
in.
the city and towns, though.
Huh?
The city and towns need to add more staff. That's the real.
Yeah, but they all
They
back each
will.
other up, don't you?
They,
I mean,
yeah, so you can't push it all off on them. I mean, there's a lot of county roads that get to the towns, that get there before it happens. A lot of traffic, a lot of people. So I'm just saying, this is not going to stop. I mean, as this county continues to grow.
One thing to think about too was when we started the short-lived process of economic development payments, our top priority stated at that time was before they made TIF changes, you couldn't fund police officers. And the primary goal of that was to have a revenue stream that would fund police officers. We do have to be careful because that fund's not sustainable. We did it for a brief time, but we do have probably a good decade where that money will be coming in, and that was the primary intent of it. So when we get to that phase with the next sheriff of exploring staff increases, just something else to consider.
EDA money, have you defined exactly that it's going to go to this, or are you still open with what you're spending it on?
It's still so broad. And I think you leave it that way so you can cover those public safety needs. You don't just get down and define it so tightly that we can only use this and this, I think, as needed. And I think we've only spent $150,000.
Well, that was reimbursable because we did pay it out of there, but we did a reimbursement resolution because we didn't really want to get into like random one-off expenditures out of it, because when we created it, we said we were going to fund public safety, and we hadn't really evaluated the plan of that. So Deb, correct me if I'm wrong, but that 150 was put back, or was supposed to be put back.
I would have to check. Yes. Mary says it was.
Yes. Yeah, so no EDA money, it was short-term cash flowed, we reimbursed it, and no EDA money that I'm aware of has actually been expended until we have a more in-depth plan about what it's intended to do.
Yeah.
That's your guys's.
Yeah, Jim brought it up yesterday, and I haven't gone back yet to when we started it. But when I talked to Jim yesterday, he had said that we said here we were going to fund police officers primarily with that funding. So I have not rolled the tape back, but
Yeah.
we need to check what we said at the time we did it.
I've got the resolution. I was looking at it yesterday.
I think when you do that, we do it with, just like we did with Buck Creek Township, the 10-year potential for them to fund operational expenses that by the end of that operation, you need to be able to get yourself funded. It's not, we're not.
County would have to absorb it as those payments roll off, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
Long-term, had to figure that out.
Long-term
Yeah.
goal is to, self-sustaining.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Second thing on my agenda is a job description change. And so we have a position on the sheriff's office that we kind of vacated. It's a civil process server. We changed the way we're doing things. I'm not using that position anymore. And so what we'd like to do going forward is change the job description and make that what we would call a law enforcement technology specialist. And what that is for the future going forward, we don't have anybody that's going to, new administration will probably not have anybody that can take care of in-car cameras, body worns, mobile data computers in the cars, all the technology stuff that you have to do on a daily basis, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, don't have that. And so all I want to do is I want to switch the position, change it to a law enforcement technology specialist, and in my budget, I already put it in there, and I had to add some additional compensation to that for that position. And so it's already funded about $57,000. It's already there, it's been there. And I added another 22.5 to it, to make it to where it needs to be for that type of specialist. So just kind of a heads up, that's what I've done. It's in the budget to see it going forward.
So this is the 7th new job you're asking for? Because you got the SRO, that's 1. You got 5 that we're putting into the courthouse, and then you need another IT person.
We don't have an IT person.
Right, so that's a new job. All right, so that's
It's not a new job, it's replacing a job.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've already have a spot. I'm not using it, so I'm basically switching the job
Still
description.
at 6, okay.
Yes.
Still at 6.
Yeah.
All right, gotcha.
And what is the role?
But those don't count because those were a long time ago.
No,
This is
those
new.
count. Those count. Those are 6 new jobs for next year.
Approved a long time ago. This
They
is new
keep
ones.
telling me down there, I'm hearing as the president, I hear it, they go, no new jobs, and then Sheriff's getting 6 new jobs. I'm like, man, he's breaking that rule fast.
No.
Oh, yeah, you count them. There's 6
general
new
fund jobs. These are not general fund funded.
They're saying no new general fund jobs.
Yeah, if you can pay for places like the RDC, then be my guest.
Yes.
So the existing position that's having what we're calling a job description change, they are a deputy. They're not a deputy.
It's a civil position.
Civil position. Yeah. You already have that position.
I have some funding there already.
Yeah, and so its benefits are already allocated for that position. So really, we're only talking about an increase in salary for these specialty skills.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's not creating a new position, it's just replacing an old one and adding a little bit.
But it's a job description change, and is it gonna change their rate of pay?
Well, rate of pay is gonna go up.
If we approve the additional over the 50.
And you put that in the 27 budget,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. No, it's for 27.
Okay.
Yes, it's for 27.
And then Brad, you had told me at one point that we have a current difficulty with the sheriff's department outside of regular office hours having, if your computers crash, whatever, having access to people to fix them, given that you're a 24-hour operation. Will this person resolve for that issue that you don't have IT access after hours to the extent you need it?
Yes, that's going to help, which also is going to bring up the next conversation I'm going to have with John in this other position and working together with that. But yes, that position would allow for that to happen. IT, this is a little different than IT because it's kind of more in depth because current IT doesn't work on mobile data or doesn't work on our mobile datas. It doesn't work on our in-car cameras, doesn't work on in-body worn cameras, doesn't do those things. They strictly are like IT, computers, other things. And so we need that ability. We need that technical person at the sheriff's office on a continual basis to be able to do that. And so, yes, we don't have that now. At one point in time, when we talked about IT, we had a person at the sheriff's office for a little while, and then he was going back and forth. His office was in the sheriff's office, but he was going back and forth between me and the 911 center. That's been gone for a year or so. We don't have that ability anymore. I don't have anybody to do any of that. And so it is difficult. I mean, I get IT in things that we have to deal with in today's world with security. But my chief deputy was doing a lot of this computer stuff. A lot of the permissions that he had to be able to do have been taken away from him. He can no longer do those. And so when that happens, we can't get our things fixed in a quick manner like we need them sometimes. Okay. And so there's a lag sometimes to be able to get things done. And so, we really need to have that spot. But in turn, brings up the next item, which is in conjunction with what we need to do is John's new position to talk about that. And so if John wants to come up, I added it to my budget or my line because they would work together, but what he wants to do is going to be added to, but it's going to be more in what this person would do at the 911 center. So I'll let John explain it. But we got to have them both to work together.
And similar to, I mean, the sheriff told the good story, so I'm not going to rehash the whole thing about being different from IT. I spoke to Bernie about this, and he understands the need for the position because, what?
He's here.
Oh, good. Excellent. But no, and we did. We spoke about the need for the position, and he agreed for it because what we do, and again, when I went through the list of things that either myself or my deputy director are doing, and both of us are still averaging working about 50 to 55 hours a week. And at some point in time, work-life balance starts to get in the way of that. But when I did my first list of go through of everything that this person would do, I had 39 things on that list. And one of their primary responsibilities would be our liaison to the IT department. So it's not myself and my deputy director, and sometimes we're getting cross messages because we're talking to two different people in IT. It's one person handling that. And one of the other things that we want our person to do is assist with seeking out grants and assisting with that. They would also maintain what I'm doing right now, basically alone, is maintaining 1,100 public safety radios. We've made it easier with some technology, but there's also some other things, our computer-aided dispatch. I'm not going to go through all of them, but we have all of these programs, all this technology, the drones that are, these people are going to have to take care of that stuff because we're not always going to have the time to do this. We're backed up on a bunch of projects right now. And again, this is a 2027 request. Mine would come out of the 911 surcharge. Again, not asking for any general fund money. It fits in nicely. The 2 basis points that we received this year have been a godsend because now we're going to be balancing the lit, supplemental lit that we got was great as well, being over $300,000. And again, this is a 2027 request. But it's become a necessary evil with where public safety is going with technology. And we've been talking about this position for the last 3 years.
John, can you clarify? You said it would come out of 911 fees. Is that Fund 1222?
Correct, yes.
And so 1222 is the fund that we're spending more than we're receiving and we know is going to deplete.
So in the 2027 budget, which you will receive my first email that I send out after today, because I wanted to have this conversation first. Dispatchers are going to move from 1222 to 1235 since there's more money in there. And then the 911 surcharge budget will lose about $500,000 of expenditures with that. And then we're going to put admin and supervisors within the surcharge budget. And so that relieves the pressure off of the surcharge to where what I submitted, we get about $1.15 million a year in surcharge plus the 90/10 distribution. And so my budget that I submitted was just under 1.2 million. So that I took all of that into account. Again, the 2 basis points were made this took the pressure off of us. And
Right.
so we're there now to where we can do
Has
this.
Greg already put this in sustainability? He has not.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. I know Jim had suggested a while back and kind of brought it up again recently on this request that the next time 911 needed an employee that they should talk to the RDC, but you're suggesting with the changes we made to the income tax rates that this is very sustainable.
It's sustainable right now. And then the fact that we are going to we've already started the process of asking for the State House to double the surcharge as well. And if that would occur, if that true doubling would occur, it would bring us anywhere, depending on how they break it out, it would get us anywhere from 750,000 to 1.1, to our current 1.15 million.
Okay.
And again, that's a it's going to be a pretty tough task to get that in the current.
So you're not going to come to the RDC? Okay. I mean, I heard wind of an employee that was.
Yeah, we can't, well, we won't talk about that right
Okay.
now, so.
All right, thank you.
Good,
I won't have to worry about anything, because I was going to deflect you off to the commissioners anyway.
We've
already had they're in charge of the
So
RDC.
when we, after I send you my yearly email about my budget, then I would like to schedule meetings with one or two of you at a time, whether in person on Teams or on the phone, like I try to do every year, to discuss a couple situations that, that way you understand, have a better knowledge of what is going on.
Would you, John, please send to Greg Guerrettaz some of this in depth in writing that he can build into the sustainability that I'm sure he's constantly updating now in advance of July. This is, like he said, in his 2027 budget, so we'll certainly be talking about it more over the next couple months. Does anyone have any questions they want answered today while we have John here? Okay.
If you just want to yell at me in general.
Okay.
I'll commend you on your tie or your shirt, Jack. It's
I
very
was going to
nice.
say the same thing about your jacket.
It's a lovely shade.
And also, I learned yesterday, or Tuesday, I'm sorry, when I wore my blue version of this, that my employees don't particularly like the blue because it doesn't show up well and it makes my shoulders look big when I hold this. So for my 911 employees that are watching this right now, because they do watch the meetings religiously, go back to work.
Yes, go back to work.
Thanks, John.
Everyone, you don't need to be watching us right now.
All right, I'm going to vacate the next one I had on there, the Walkway Canopy. I need to do a little bit more digging on this one before I bring it to you for some funding options. So I'll be back probably, I don't know whenever we can have another regular meeting, August maybe.
You're saying you'll circle back on the Walkway Canopy
Yeah,
discussion?
I'll circle
Okay.
back on that. I got 3 proposals. I went to the commissioners. We kind of narrowed it down to 2, but I need to find, there's so much of a gap in between my proposals. I'm trying to find out why and
Make
come
sure
up
everybody-
with the best, so make sure it's apples to apples because something's not making sense. So I got some
Right.
phone calls in. I just haven't got them back yet. So
Okay.
before I say, hey, this is what I need, I want to make sure I got it all square.
Perfect.
Okay.
Now to the big stuff.
The big stuff. Yeah. Everybody's been waiting for it. So I'm looking to possibly do some changes to our pension, the sheriff retirement pensions, not just mine, the whole department merit deputy pension plan. And so in order to do any changes, the sheriff, the merit board, and council all have to agree to make that happen. And so I've approached the merit board. They've signed off and agreed to a couple different versions or options. And so they're in favor of these things that I'm going to talk about today. And so the first item that I have up there, and one of the biggest one I think is the death benefit piece. And so our current plan provides a death benefit plan, and this is not line of duty. This is just a death benefit plan based on the retiree benefit. And so a surviving spouse right now currently gets $200 a month. And then if there's a child, it only gets $30 a month through that death benefit, which is not a whole lot. And it's been that way for I don't know how many years, probably since the inception of the plan, which was the 70s. And so one of the first things that we would like to do is increase that benefit from $200 to $500 for the spouse, and then for the child from $30 to $200 per month. Currently, we have 4 spouses on the plan that do collect the $200 a month on our plan. And so This is what the agreeance was. I mean, this is what the merit board approved. You know, could it be more? Yes, I don't know. I mean, it seems still low, but you know, this is what we agreed upon. And so that was the first item to talk about, or just to say, hey, you know, we wanted to increase that. Part of also of this change would be is the deputies, part of their salary, they contribute a 3% to the plan. Would also change that to allow the deputies to increase that to 4%. They would go in and say, hey, we'll to help the plan out, we'll increase it to 4%. And so we've agreed upon that. And so the next thing we looked at was changing the retirement age from 55 to 50, and adding a COLA as well to that.
Hey, Sheriff, can I interrupt?
I'm sorry?
On the last one, would that cause any increase in the contribution the county has to make? When they did the
That
study?
specifically, I don't know.
Okay.
Because the way it was figured is, we did five different scenarios in the actuarial study.
Okay.
All the way the study was done was, that included that in that study. So I don't know what difference this piece would make with all the other ones.
So it makes it tough to vote just that and not.
Yeah, they would have to just do the study on what the increase. And so I guess that's some of my today is to kind of get an idea if I can go back to them and say, hey, okay, this is kind of what we look at, may agree upon, what would these numbers be based off of this?
So something to consider too with the county, what the county's asking to fund each year is that how the market performs affects that number. And that's a variable that we will never know. But if the market has multiple years of bad performance, then that actuarial study may say the county needs to throw in more this year, right? To make up for the fact that assets are down. And so this isn't one of those math situations where you can pencil it out and know for sure. But if you take 50 officers that call it a 75,000 payroll, 1%'s 37,500 to give you an idea. We've got 4 people on this right now, so that would go up 1,200 times 12 a year. So what we have right now, it is lower than the percent that they're gonna add, but there's a lot more in the whole package that's all variable.
It is. And I think that's some of the reason why when you get the evaluation, you know, you have a minimum, medium, and maximum in that threshold of what you can, you know, to where you want to be at. I mean, because you got 3 different levels you can do. And so I think that allows for those percentages changes because of that. So, so the other phase of what we looked at was lowering and reducing the retirement age from 55 to 50. And some of that thought is that it goes back, and one of the main things I think looking at that lowering that age is the health and well-being of officers in today's world, safety. You know, things have changed over the years, and you know, wellness is a big component of what we look at, and we do things now that, you know, try to make sure that our officers are in good shape and they're well. And so reducing and lowering a age would be one of the physical and mental well-being benefits to that. And so it helps also with recruitment, seeing retirement at a lower age, because that allows the ability to go on and obviously have another career at 50 years old and do something else and get out of the public safety and change your well-being. You know, law enforcement's tough, and you know, being able to get out early than later is better for the individual. And so I kind of put this together, showing what the difference would be based off of, you know, anybody that it would be like, say right now at retirement age could go at the 50 with the years of service, because it would require 50, you know, at 50 you would have at least have to have 10 years of service to get a benefit, which is currently it's 55 and 10 to be able to be vested. And so right now this is the number of what would be out there if say we did something in 2027, not, these individuals here would be able to potentially retire at this figure. Not to say that they would all do that, not everybody would, but they would be eligible to do that. And so if you take those that say all of them went, you hired 11 new ones, you see the difference because you go from a higher salary to obviously a base salary, and there's a savings in that piece of that. This figure here is $162,000. And so that's just based off salary.
But there's also a different cost in the fact that you're losing all that experience and knowledge.
There is.
And that's something I was concerned about when they presented it to us, when I was there with you.
Yeah, and I have a number, and I don't have it with me.
I mean, as a sheriff, I mean, that would be something that would concern me, is that I'm losing all this great knowledge and experience and talent in it. I don't know, what's your feelings on that? I know the mental health part, I heard that, and I know the officers,
I mean,
some officers would stay and some would leave.
Some are saying, I mean, you're going to lose some of that, obviously, yeah. I mean, in today's world, I mean, and how we hire for deputies and law enforcement, I mean, we don't hire so much for the training piece anymore, and what you brought to you is more as far as personality, and because we can train people. I mean, you can train new people, and sometimes when you hire people with training and have knowledge, sometimes you get bad habits. And so the training is not that big a deal to me because I think we can train people to be proficient police officers and sheriff's deputies. So that would not concern me so much when you lose some of that, because you're always going to lose that. I mean, when somebody comes, you lose those years of service, but you're training people ahead of time for that. So I don't know that that's going to.
Well, and the mental health is one thing that you've mentioned a lot, but nobody's also brought up physical health. I mean, I'm not 50 or 55 yet, but I can't imagine chasing a suspect right now, much less then. And so.
You can still do it. You can still do it, right?
Into my advanced age, I would say it's not fun to be in a roadside fight with somebody waiting on people to come. It's a challenge, and one of the greatest, I think, informational pieces I ever heard was policing is a younger man's game.
Yeah.
It is. Now, there are just different divisions of that, the men and women who are on the road versus the ones who are in administration. And I hear what Scott is talking about here. You may find a decrease in cost in one area, but you might find an increase in liability because you're hiring all these new people on. But it's the trade-off. It's what we're looking for. But overall, I think it is better, healthier physically and mentally to offer somebody an early out because it's just a different.
Remind me, this was approved a few years ago by an age and
Drop.
So are there many deputies?
So right now we don't have anybody in the drop, and so we only had two that took advantage of it. We did it. Yeah, I think I did it my first year in 19 actually. Did that. So, but I think I've only had two that's done that drop program since we got started. But that was a cost neutral. When you do the drop, it's cost neutral. It didn't, it didn't change.
It's not reflective of what your source is.
No, that's another benefit to the program. But in order to have a drop, it had to be cost neutral to the plan. So.
Another thing I would consider is, I could be wrong, but I'm not expecting a mass exodus at age 50 just because it's eligible, because you don't, if they retire at 50, their benefits not going to be increasing, and we do have it built into the matrix, right, that they make more each year, which means their pension payment will keep going up each year. So there is an incentive to stay. It's not like at 50 there's no financial incentive to keep working. It's just that as long as you did 10 years, you are allowed to leave at 50 if you choose.
I kind of saw that it was twofold. One is for those that want to leave earlier, but I do think it will encourage some of them to stay. Yeah, so I think it kind of does both.
I like the way you titled it, Early Retirement with Dignity, because there are probably some sheriff's deputies that probably around age 50 should retire, but maybe can't, or feel like it will, like they couldn't do their job anymore, but I like that a lot.
Yeah.
All right,
And believe me, I mean, I'll be 60 this year, and I'm still doing DTs and all those things, and getting thrown around and tossed around is not as fun as it used to be when I was 25. You hurt a little bit more than that.
Isn't this similar to what? Isn't this similar to what firemen do? Jeff and I, we go to the banquet every year for Greenfield for fire, and because of him, and there's a lot of early retirements there.
Yeah,
And then, like you said, they go on to a new career.
new career. You know, it's something that's not as stressful. Mental health is better, so.
I want to speak up. When I met with them, because he had me come to a meeting, which I was used to be the president of mayor board, so it was no big deal going to meeting mayor board. Their preference, when I talked to several of the officers that were there that were concerned about this, their preference was more the COLA over the age. The age wasn't as big of a deal. COLA is the big deal to them. And the one thing you brought up that we didn't really get into too much was there is a cost to train each of those new officers, though.
There is.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, there's a cost, yeah. You know, every time, yeah, I mean, there's an annual cost anyway to train officers, but there's always a cost to a new officer. But, you know, depending on how you decide you want to do something, you can do laterals. I mean, you can hire people that's already been to the academy. I mean, there are other options, but there's always going to be a training cost. You're right.
Well, and then that, Scott's aware and I'm aware, but I don't know if everybody's aware that we should probably segue into the third piece of the package here, which is cost of living adjustment request that doesn't currently exist.
Now, yes. So this graph here I put together, you should have too as well. Now this is based off of, again, 2025 salary data. If I was needing to redo it, we could say, hey, yeah, we would like to see more information based off this. I would go back and say, okay, let's look at the 50 with the COLA, with the 2026 salaries. Because this happened in December of last year, 2025 is when I got this information. And so we're kind of like a year behind on this data. And so, but I did 5 different scenarios. This is what the merit board kind of agreed to. And so if we can narrow it down to, hey, let's look at this better and see what the real numbers are, then I could do that in another actuarial study based off of whether it's 50 COLA or just COLA and see where. So this, this showed the 50 in 10 years with the COLA. And the way the COLA works, you don't get COLA, so if you're retired at 50, your actual COLA wouldn't start till age 55. And it goes for 10 years, so it's 55 to 65 is what that COLA amount is. And that would be with a 50 years old retirement piece as well. But we can just go ahead and just talk about the COLA. There's currently 25 plans right now in the state that do the COLAs. The way the COLA works, it maxes out at 3%. And so it doesn't go any higher, but it's based off of the, what is that index?
CPI.
CPI index. So right now, it's 2.7, which we'll see in the next slide. But 17 counties use the 3%. And in this particular plan, it was just figured from 55 to 65 for 10 years. But there's actually 11 counties that do it for lifetime. And those actually originated when the plans actually started. And so it's been a while that those been in process. So here's the next thing, and this just looks at the COLA numbers and where we would be on the COLA. This shows 13 retirees that would be eligible right now at the age and the 20 to receive the COLA. Next year it would be 2.7 based off the CPI. Again, it maxes out at 3, can't go any higher. But this is where it lines out. And so what we're looking at really is based off what current is with a 2.7, with the current people, about $17,000. That's just strictly just the COLA.
Yeah, so 10 years, age 55. So even if we did approve a 50-year-old retirement age, the COLA does not kick in till 55 to 65, no matter when you retire. I did confirm with the sheriff, if we approve this, we're not back paying. So if you are 62 today on your pension benefit, you would get 3 years of it, but we're not making anything retroactive if we do COLA. And you do have to work 20 years, not 10, to be entitled to get that 10 years of COLA between 55 and 65. So I thought those were all important.
Is it too
bullets.
burdensome fiscally to have it run out instead of stop at 65 to have it go?
Well, ultimately, I mean, we would like it to be a lifetime. I didn't figure that. I mean, we didn't figure that. And it can be figured to see what that is.
Okay.
I just don't have that figure because we just stopped it at the 10.
Just with this 10, it's a 50% increase. I mean, we're gonna go from paying $1 million, if we would pay $1 million this year, is it this year or next year? They
Well,
million, and it would be 1.5.
I knew there was a
1.6.
fiscal impact, I just
50.
didn't know how.
I think there's a problem with using that math, and Greg, I probably want to get you in on it, but I think the problem when he said the data is a year old is that we have 3 people retiring this year. You're looking at one of them.
Yeah.
And they are higher paid individuals. And so we're using data on what we spent last year that doesn't account for the fact that even if we say no to all this, we have 3 new people retiring to the tune of to almost $20,000 a month of pension benefit that's going to start going out, whether we approve any of this or not. That's not part of your 2025 number. So to be fair, I think we need to look at including those people because they're retiring regardless and that expense is there regardless. What is the difference between that number and the number with COLA? Because it looks like $500,000, but most of that $500,000 is people who are retiring regardless of what we do here.
Well, that'd be our contribution increase. Each year, I think, is that each year? Right now, as of right now. I mean, it changes every year.
So right now, based off of the current valuation, we're right at just a tad over what $1 million is to contribution. It went from 933 something to like right at $1 million for next year's budget.
And there's different options they give you, which
Yeah.
I remember learning about. And like some are like 1.3 instead of 900, and some are at 1.6.
Yeah.
Well, and I guess what I'm saying is that contribution might go up. You know, this might say it's going up 500,000, let's say. But my point is it might be going up 400 anyway.
Oh, yeah.
With the new retirees. And so what you're talking about as far as making this decision might be 100,000. It's a smaller number than the $500,000. A lot of that $500,000 is happening regardless of saying no to all of this.
I don't think that's correct.
That was my understanding because
That's not right.
it's not, it doesn't make mathematical sense, right, Greg? That to get CPI, you would be at 150% just by adding CPI alone. That doesn't math.
I think the answer is you have to isolate the 2 events.
Right.
And get the impact.
Right.
We'll be sitting here this all day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
An SRO position coming open maybe if you don't want to retire, help us out.
We have an SRO position opening.
Wait, you're good. That was good. No.
I do want to, this is a big topic. Jim's not here. I figured we would be revisiting this again. And Greg, do you think you need to work with some of this data?
So how involved has the actuary been in because going from 50 to 55 is going to significantly impact their assumptions?
Yes, and the assumptions were based in some of the data early, but I think if we're going to look at it, truly seriously look at it, I would like to go back and put on a newer number.
Yeah, because
An updated number. I would like to look at it, 2026 salary numbers actuarially, and what it would be. I don't know. 27 if we did 50 COLA only, and then also take out and just figure the death benefit. So do 3.
but also have the incremental isolation of the 3 officers that are retiring already, because we've got to pony that up next year.
Right. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. So
you can start working with the sheriff to further pencil out how this would impact the full budget, and we'll circle back on it.
Is there any specifics you want us to look at, like only look at COLA with the age or age with COLA? Because I know you had a couple options. You had like 50, 52, 55.
Well, so basically
COLA.
what the mayor board said and what we agreed upon and what they voted on is let's look at the 50 and the COLA.
Okay.
And, or if that doesn't work out, let's just look at the COLA.
COLA, right.
But the one main thing too is that death benefit and getting that changed.
Which I think that's a non-issue.
I don't think that would be, I agree with that.
Yeah.
With my calculation.
Not isolated to not lifetime, but 65.
Yeah.
But I can have them look at the lifetime too, just to see what the difference is.
If
And I have a question about that.
Yep.
So is that just for a death and it has to do with when they're working or if they die any time during that time? That
No,
was the impression
it's just
I
a death
got.
benefit in the plan, so it has nothing to do with like line of duty type stuff. So this is separate from that line, because there's different funding mechanisms for line of duty stuff that you have.
Any more questions? We're obviously going to revisit that. Greg is going to help Brad further crunch numbers, get some updated inputs in there based on what's happening now, salaries now. Any more questions for today? Okay. Have a good trip out of town. Try not to work while you're gone.
I will.
Anything else, Brad?
No, that's it, all I have today. I appreciate your time and staying up with me with all these things on the agenda, so.
Bill Spalding and Greg Guerrettaz, do you care if we kick you behind our presentation? Perfect. Briane House, we'll jump to you, and sorry we're a few minutes late.
Well, thank you so much. I'm paid by the hour, so the more.
Oh, on second thought, let's talk about those planning fees.
That with my client. Well, it's a pleasure to be here this morning, and it's been a while. This is refreshing. With me is Miss Karen Scales, who is the president of an entity known as Scales of Success. So I'm going to give you a little background. This is an overview presentation on a petition for tax abatement. Karen and her husband worked for the big accounting firm of Price Waterhouse. Karen had a history working as a turnaround specialist, businesses to try and get them back on track. Her and her husband decided that they wanted to be more hands-on, not simply consultants. And if I misstate anything, or you jump in.
Okay.
And consequently, they acquired a small and somewhat struggling mailing operation. This is the mail processor. In fact, this company, or actually a related company, but all owned by the same. What do you send out for the county?
Well, we work with about 60 counties. We do a lot of F11s, including Hancock County, and then we also do some property tax invoices that just happened. And then we also do, we're kind of a complete outsourcer, so we do a lot of the metering and the mailing for a lot of county governments. So we go there and pick up all their stuff for the day, discount the postage, get them out of all that office stuff, and process. We're an outsourcer for the USPS as well.
So in any event, Scales of Success, which is the company that owns the real estate, acquired real estate in Hancock County on 300 North. If you remember, it's next to the Rise property. This was real estate owned by Dennis Fry. Now, interestingly enough, I represented Dennis Fry in the sale. It had nothing to do with the purchase. And at the time, I thought, well, this is interesting. We don't have the usual 6 months due diligence here. It's just a nice, simple purchase agreement and move to close. With all due respect, that's probably because Karen didn't get some of the best advice that she should have had. In any event, Scales of Success and related companies called Midwest Presort, and the other operation is?
The legal name is Mailing Solutions, Inc., but the DBA is Midwest Presort Service.
I always remember the Midwest Presort. Has 2 facilities in Indianapolis that are leased, one on Shadeland Avenue and another on the west side, correct?
Yeah, over on the old Airport Express.
This facility will be a new building in excess of 35,000 square feet. It will be office space and space for production. In the packet, you have diagrams of the building. There's still architectural and engineering work going on. But what they do is what Ms. Scales has said. They handle volumetric mailing for a variety of entries. They currently have and anticipate to add employees. Their rates of compensation and benefits are very good. And this is a low-impact business on county infrastructure and, first responders and so on. The traffic to the facility is limited. They generally get a UPS semi-truck at night. Otherwise, you have employees driving to and from. They estimate that approximately 30% of the employees will be residents of Hancock County, certainly helpful given the changes made in local income taxes. And they anticipate adding employees. Now, I have a wealth of information, and I will provide that to you in writing in addition to the petition. But we're here today to take your temperature, if you will, and answer any questions you have on a preliminary basis. I'm going to turn it over to Karen if she'd like to add anything or if you have questions for her or questions for me.
A couple questions. The location of this facility is between 7 and 800 west on 300 north on the north side?
It's on the north side of 300 north. Do you remember where the RISE project is?
No, I don't. Where is it from 700 west? The west of 700 west?
I think
it is.
It's across from Hunter's Chase, if that helps.
Is it across from Hunter's Chase?
Hunter's Chase is west of 700.
Oh, okay.
Hunter's Chase, is that what the development dentist did? I can't remember.
The neighborhood.
It's a neighborhood.
Yeah, I know what it
It's
is.
a subdivision. There's a new roundabout at 7 west and 3 north is
west of there. There was one larger parcel that was split. A purchaser by the name of RISE purchased that a year and a half ago, give or take. And then the remaining parcel was purchased by Scales of Success.
There does not, I don't think there's a neighborhood right around this at all.
There's not across from it, I know that.
across the street.
I think the schematics could have been a little better. It's not really showing logistics as far as what roads it fronts, what roads are running beside.
You can supplement that. I will candidly admit, and I'll come back to this.
Okay.
We had to do this on a very short fuse, okay? Karen, somebody advised her, close and then seek tax abatement. Ordinarily, as you know, the purchase agreement is conditioned upon receiving all necessary approvals during a due diligence period. Well, that didn't happen here. And more troubling or adding to the time pressure is the fact that the leases on their facilities in Indianapolis will expire in April of 2027. So hopefully everything can go forward expeditiously and they can start construction. We can get you a bigger schematic and highlight the location.
Okay, I was just interested in two things on that issue. The entrance to the subdivision versus the entrance to this facility. If they're, from what you just showed me, they may not conflict, okay. How many semis a day?
One,
And it's,
possibly two.
Okay.
So
how do you get your product out?
So what we do is we have two sides of our business. One side is that we're a outsourced pre-sorter for the United States Postal Service. So our vehicles are going all over the state, and these are minivans and cargo vans, and they're picking up mail from statement printers, from insurance companies, people who are generating a lot of mail, hospitals, county governments all over the state. So our drivers are headed out in the morning and they're driving just small vehicles and they're picking up all of this mail. Then it comes back into, and we do have a couple box trucks, which are just, like 16-foot box trucks. And they're going out and then they come back in they come back into the facility between 3:30 and 5:30. And then we process that mail, so we're barcoding it and sorting it. If you picture what the mail looks like that, when you get it, there's a barcode on the bottom. We do that and we sort it and we put it in trays and we put it on skids the way the post office wants it, and then they come get it at 10:30 at night and then it goes on its way. By doing that, we're able to save our customers money because we get a discount for doing a part of the USPS work, and we pass that on. So it's an easy business. It's hard to get into, but it's easy to sort of sell and grow because you're basically selling cost savings. So if you let us pick up your mail instead of putting it in a mailbox, you're going to pay less than full price on your postage. So that's that part of it, and that's what the USPS is doing. The other side of it is, and I think the easiest way to explain it is if you picture everything else that you get in the mail in a day, utility bills, hospital bills, postcards, advertising postcards, the F11s, your tax bill, all of that printing, either transactional printing, which is statements, bank statements, or it's marketing and stuff, which is the postcards. We print and mail all of that. And again, we have all these printers in-house, we do it, and then we're receiving your data, and by using us, you're going to be faster and you're also going to save money because we're passing through the postage discounts that the post office gives us. So it's a very clean business. We recycle all of our waste. We have very little, we don't generate trash. It's just one of these businesses. So the product that comes in, like maybe once a month we'll have a truckload of paper come in. But the bulk of the in and out is picked up by our drivers in just regular, we drive everything from Priuses. If we're going, we have a route going to Kokomo, we have a route going to Bloomington and Columbus, and they're gonna be driving a minivan or a Prius or something that's gonna get good mileage. For the larger customers that we pick up that are big insurance companies or something that have skids of mail, we drive a box truck.
Another question, how tall is the building? Is it single story?
No,
No, it's
24 foot clear
24
height.
feet.
2 stories.
At the top of the application, the boxes for real and.
Both.
Both, but
Yeah,
real,
but I
real
want
is the
to, I
important.
want to address the property. On my form,
Real
this
property is
thing
the urgent
printed a
matter.
little funky. Real property, most importantly. There will be additional new equipment, but the reason we haven't filed the request on personal property yet is it's still completely or not fully decided as to what new equipment will be added until the building is up. Karen has told me they have 3 production printers which are scheduled for replacement in the next year. And this is very expensive equipment, ranging from $80,000 to $300,000 a piece. They currently operate 8 of those.
So will your entrance to your property enter from 300 North? Yes. That is directly across the street from.
Let me check that, because I've been by this property a number of times.
According to the
I
parcel
can't see
number.
that from
I
here,
know,
but
but
I'll
if
take
you
your
want to
word.
look at it, I pulled the parcel number up on our county GIS, and it identifies your parcel in blue, and across the street directly is Hunter's Chase.
I think it's one of, not really
And
sure by the way.
so, just so you know, on personal property, the number of personal property abatements we have granted since I've been here is probably on one hand, and most of them are 100 million.
I understand
or
that
greater, you know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah, we're
it's-
nowhere near like that.
And they're screwing with the personal property at the State House now.
Thank you, Dusty.
And have been.
Right.
So that's
There it is.
that's kind of a problem, or,
Yeah.
okay.
Honestly, the real property is really the main thing that we
Right.
really.
And have you talked to anybody yet about landscaping in front of the building between the, where the road is? We
Right.
do, the reason we're all like wild on what's happening on this one, because we've turned this location down multiple times for past tax abatement because of the subdivision across the street. Okay?
I know that those turndowns were on warehouse proposals.
Right. It's because of what was being presented. It's, and so that's why it's, I'm not saying that this isn't warranted to be there or anything like that right yet, but that's why we're worried
I
about
understand.
landscaping, we're worried about lighting, we're worried about height of the building, we're worried about traffic, we're worried about light noise, or whatever that's called, light pollution, you know. And we're, all those kind of things, since this is the only subdivision in our TIF district that has it.
Yeah, I had a lot of complaints from people when we were looking at it before, and they said with that neighborhood, it's mainly a neighborhood of young families, and they said that they can hear the beeping, the backing up, you know, of all of those trucks at night.
Yeah.
And later than what it really should have been, like 11 o'clock at night, when the kids are in bed.
Yeah.
Babies are in bed.
I don't even think our semis, the post office doesn't beep when they back up. They just come in, they back up, they get the mail, and they leave, and it's really a very quiet process. We don't have, just to tell you a little bit more about kind of what we're about. When we started doing this, our whole goal was to grow jobs, right? That's our whole goal. And we started out with like 8 people, now we have 39 people. The next step for us to grow more jobs and we're doing well. I would consider us to be an excellent business. We have a lot of really good longtime business partners and county governments. And so in order for us to make this next step and grow more jobs, we have to get into a bigger facility. And so we've been very good neighbors. We've operated a weekend feeding program at the elementary school that's right by us on Shaylin for years and years. We're active in the community, and our goals are still the same, but we will be good neighbors. We do have a civil engineer working on all of these things you're talking about. We've talked about mounding in the front, or to be honest, whatever's necessary, whatever. He's been already looking at the requirements and what the county wants in that way, and we're gonna do everything that needs to be done to be a good neighbor out there.
You know, Brian, you said this is not a warehouse. Do you have any differentiation appearance-wise on, does it look like a tiny warehouse, even though does not function as a warehouse?
Well, there are some elevations in the packet, and we ought to get a color elevation for you.
I with my glasses, I
I
still
think
couldn't
it is
read them,
gonna-
that's why
to be,
I asked.
To be honest, I think it is gonna look probably a little bit like a warehouse, but the difference is we have offices in the second floor on the front, we're gonna have windows across the front, we're gonna have landscaping, but it's gonna have a front with an awning and all that kind of stuff, but at the end of the day, buildings are very expensive, and, for us, it's just the necessary evil of doing the business and growing the job. So we're trying to build an efficient, clean, cost-effective building. And so it's not gonna look like a warehouse in that it's just no windows and everything. It's gonna have windows and things like that, but it's gonna be basically, a big rectangle. Because we're still a family business. We still have to, work within a budget, and that's just the least expensive way to do it, being honest. But it doesn't mean we're not gonna mound the front to have a good front on it. I mean, we're gonna take pride in it. I mean, this is gonna be a long-term solution for us, and so we're gonna, be a good neighbor, take good care of it. There's not gonna be there's not noise generated out of it.
I think, in all fairness, what we turned down because it was in Hunter's Chase before, was it not a 1 million square foot building? I thought, does anybody remember? I thought it was another 1 million square foot building.
I think so. It had the offices in the front, and then like they said for plumbers and things, there's places, garage doors where they could store things.
Oh, that was the individual business thing. Well, I think it was considerably larger than what they're talking about building, just to be fair. I'd have to check the record on that, with a lot more coming and going. And the other thing is, this might be the first time in 5 years we've said, well, what about the small business owners? They don't get any breaks. The public says, well, are you going to give these same deals to the little guy and not just these big developers? And then also speculation, right? You guys spec buildings. What about tenants? And so I think this is the first small structure tenant occupied building that I've seen come through here in 5 years.
Yeah, I think with that being said, size of the building is attractive to me because it isn't one of these monster
Well, and the other
warehouse
thing,
type buildings. But what I would encourage and want to see is some collaboration possibly with their HOA or whoever, that you make sure that the lighting
we'll interface with
and
Hunter's Chase.
the landscaping and the mounting, and that you barely know you're there, basically, is what I would like to see because of this subdivision, which was there first.
This, indeed, this is not, you know, a 15-acre parking lot with 65 light stanchions. I mean, there will certainly be lighting on the building and adjacent to the building, but it is low-volume traffic, not a huge parking area. This is purely and simply not a logistical operation. It's not a warehouse.
Do you run shifts? Is it?
Well, I mean, basically the office people kind of work 9:30 to 6, and then we have the production side of it. They end up working till 10:30, but it's not really all that many people that, you know, are staying late. I will tell you, on our current building, we actually have all of our lights on the outside set on timers, and at 11 o'clock they all go out. And so, you know, we're lighting it up while our people are leaving because we want them to walk out into light. But then we have them on timers and they go off at night. And so I don't know what the requirements are here. We do have a civil engineer and an architect working on some of that. But, you know, anything like that that we're asked to do, I have no problem doing.
Actually, they make downward lighting that way. It's just like the light, the updated lights around here. It just shows on just a very small area.
Yeah.
Subdivisions use those.
What that's called from my Indianapolis Power and Light days, it's a shoebox fixture is what they call it. And it is directing light down. Subject to my client's approval, we can talk to engineering and probably provide an isocandela diagram which shows light spill. But there's not going to be much light spill. Secondly, the building takes up really rather small portion of the park.
That leads me to know, do you hope, or I know this is, but do you think you'll see building getting twice as big over time with what you do?
Well, you know, it really is hard to say. This building is going to allow us to grow already. We literally have work kind of waiting in the wings that we just need more space to be able to do. But I don't know, you know, I really like to stay flexible with the future and evaluate opportunity. We do not think as a company that we're an answer for everybody. So we're, you know, we try to partner with our customers, and if we're going to be a good answer for you, then we're going to try to help you. And if we're not a good answer for you, then I'm not just trying to get all the business I can get. And we still have we have a very family-ish culture. We have all of our people are long-term. And so we're trying to keep the culture, get into a space that allows us to grow sort of organically. But, you know, we're not going to sell. Both my son and all of my kids grew up in this business. My son and both of my son-in-laws work here. We've been able to draw a lot of 20 and 30-year-old, like our current leadership is, you know, in the 50s and 60s, but we've got this young group of 30, 25, or 28 to 35-year-olds that we're bringing up and mentoring. And so, you know, we're just trying to be a great place to work for the long run, where people stay, they feel like they're paid well. We do pay very well. They feel like they're appreciated. So we're just trying to create that environment. We will be hiring people from Hancock County. Two of my family already live here. We have other people that already live here. But we also know that that some of our people that work on the west side live in Plainfield, and we know they won't move. So we'll be hiring those positions from out here as well.
A question, why are you leaving the two areas that you already now, did you have abatements there currently?
No, we're leasing there. And honestly, first of all, the closer you get to Plainfield, the landlords are very difficult. And so it just becomes again, we're trying to, all the positive things we're trying to do, and that's just like an anchor around my neck. And also, we just need our own space to grow. Both of these spaces are when they're not set up for what we do, they're inefficient, but we're getting by, but they're just inefficient. This is gonna be a significantly more efficient setup for us, and it's gonna allow us to, just to operate effectively, take on the business that we already have the opportunity to take on.
And I think it's already zoned. If you don't get the abatement, you can go ahead and grow there as well. I'm not saying
We
they
can
may not
still
choose
do
to
it, but
that.
it's gonna be very financially difficult for us to do it.
Brian, I think the issue with the landscaping and stuff like that probably can be addressed, you know what I mean?
Ms.
To help
Brooks
with,
was here
to help
earlier. I
soften,
don't see her now,
to help
but
soften
we'll-
the impact, the visual impacts and on all those things. You're not processing anything inside that would cause a lot of noise.
No.
You're not bringing in 100 semis a day into the facility, and probably the egress and out of where the drive is would have to have turning lanes or something like that. I'm assuming if you get with our county engineer on, because there's not currently a cut into that property.
I'll talk to Carrie.
And that type of stuff. I mean, I agree with Keely, this is one of the better projects that we've ever addressed for this property. And it's a small business, so there is some things in your favor. And I appreciate you bringing it to us.
I'd like to see it pushed back a little. It's in the front third of the, it could be back a little farther from 300 to get away from the subdivision.
Yeah, I think I can adjust that. We originally.
Is that your fault? He's waving his hand over there.
If I can say something. The two properties on each side are already being developed right now. So the one on the left side is Blue Tank. They already have their building and things. And so I imagine the properties they have is now the other ones that are there. So the map that you're looking at right now is kind of a false image of what you're seeing. It's not bare ground there. So there is actually a business on the left side, on the west side, and there's one being developed right now on the east side. So they've already come through.
When's the last time
Well,
the
we
county
didn't
flew
debate
this?
them.
Correct. I'm not talking about the abatement. I'm just talking about from the visual of if you
Right,
got
they did them without abatements.
property and different things.
When did the county fly this last time? Fly over from that we're looking at?
This would have been, the aerial, I think, on that one is 2024, 25. So if you go to Google Earth, you can already see the property on the west being developed. But on the east, it was just this spring they started developing the water.
I drive by there, I can confirm that there's
Yeah,
lots of
there's
activity.
stuff on both sides. I will tell you, so, again, this is also new for me. I mean, my main role is to guide and direct and lead in a business and leave it in a position where it can survive me. And that's so originally, I was like, let's put it in the very back. And we went down for 6 weeks with architects and engineers on putting it in the very back. Then they came, and it was in the very back of the lot, so we're gonna build a big road back there, and then I got the pricing, and it was an extra $1 million to build in the back. And that just made it impossible for us. $1 million just to go to the back. And so then we had to, that's why this project has become so time sensitive, is because all of these missteps. So again, this is just, you don't know what you don't know. And so that's why we moved it forward. Now, we have already talked about mounding and all that. That's already been, the civil engineers we've already talked about that, putting mounds in the front, things like that. That's already been discussed. So, but whatever the requirements would be, we're open to it.
The current landscaping requirements of the county for this type of development are pretty robust.
Yeah.
And certainly we're obligated to comply with those.
Yeah.
There's probably some flexibility too. So
Thank you.
in the past, I've had success interfacing with neighboring developments and collaborating on some things. I'm glad you made the point that so this is not really changing the nature of the area, but there's opportunities here to. I mean, of course I'm biased, but this is a nice project. It's
I'd like to see a schematic, or not a schematic, but an actual drawing of the building.
We'll
I
beef
think
some
this
things
looks
up.
very much like a warehouse still, even though you're not saying it's going to be a warehouse. It's going to be owner occupied, but just from this black and white drawing, it just looks like a big warehouse box.
Well, and 35,000 square feet is not a large building.
No.
That is not a large structure. In fact, I don't know what blue tank, I don't remember.
It's storage unit for, I just looked at it and it was just
I want to see what the front.
55-gallon drums and stuff like that.
I don't know
sitting
how
up
many
there.
square feet that was, but he said both sides, right, are developed. So this is at this point infill. It is the last parcel of infill on that road.
It is.
And I would be interested to know if you did interact with Hunter's Chase, them having already now been through this with 2 other parcels. I don't know what all's been proposed there, but they may see this as superior to all the alternatives of what else might come.
Well, yeah, no, I'm.
So I haven't said anything. You asked, Mr. House, you asked earlier about our temperature. For me, with SB1, I really don't want any abatement over 3 years. I just think with everything coming, for me personally, I just want things 3 years. That doesn't mean you can't, we both know, we've done it before, we can always come back and ask for another 3 years, another 5 years, another 10 years, you can always do that stuff. But to me, that's a concern, is what's coming ahead tax-wise and losing out on, tax money here. That's a big concern for me. I know, because you asked for, a temperature.
And I very much appreciate your candor. So let me respond, because I've been down this road many times in many places. Number one, and I don't want to overstate things. This scale's got the cart badly before the horse. I mean, the cart was 2 miles down the road and the horse was still in the barn. As I said, I represented seller on the real estate. There's no conflict there. They're different things. And I thought, well, this is really nice and unusual. We're not going to be screwing around with 6 and 8 months of due diligence. And they came in, they bought. Without tax abatement, the feasibility of this project is placed in jeopardy. And while they don't want to do it, they can renew the leases they have in Annapolis and Plainfield. What I do feel strongly about is, and I've run the numbers many times, even with tax abatement, the assessed value will increase. Taking what's on an agricultural assessment, you just paid the installment. I mean, it was like $1,700.
Yeah, I think it was like.
So you get into years 2, 3, and 4, the tax revenue you're receiving is significant. I did a model once, and since I'm speaking from memory, I won't be exact. But on one of the larger projects, you would have like 1,100 single-family residences to develop the tax revenue that the project throws off in year 5. And again, I think, with all due respect, Mr. Woolridge, your point has more merit where some of the issues that we see with other projects, heavy truck traffic, law enforcement presence necessary, so on, has bearing here. I mean, as I said at the very outset, this project presents minimal burdens on the infrastructure and services of the county. But I'll talk to my client.
Can I just say one more thing, just so you guys will know? It's very, very hard to run and grow a successful small business, right? It's very hard to get the leg up sometimes. I just think if you gave us this leg up.
Well, you know.
Yeah, when the government tries to take you over, it's very hard.
It's very hard. If we could get this leg up, I think we would be a long-term great neighbor in this area. We do contribute to the neighborhood. We will bank here. We will have people that live here. We will take care of our property. We will get involved in the community just like we already do. And I think this we just need this leg up on this. The building is way more expensive than I would have dreamed they need to be. We're cutting where we can cut, but this is going to be a really great. This is going to be a great future for this business, for all these people that are going to live there. I wish you could go, like, even just like meet the people that work there. It's a very great place to work, and we just want to keep that going. And we want to get out here where we can create some more good jobs and grow some more good jobs.
I'd like to say that land is not abatable. So once the rezone occurs and it becomes a commercial, that AV will hit right off the bat, and they will be paying tax on the land. Abatement on the building is over time, depending on how many years agreed upon, but we'll see immediate income from the land itself.
Okay.
Just
Right.
because of the rezone of the land.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be reassessed.
Yes. Right, Deb?
I know today is informational only, and there's been a lot of exchange about what other new information to bring back next. We have budgets upon us. What was the intention? Deb, has anybody said anything on timing for the next time they would be on the agenda?
No, because we've got, I think you get them on the calendar.
Our hope was to be on, I believe, the June 18 agenda.
Council meeting.
We don't have a meeting. Our meeting's a week from today, and then we won't have another meeting till July.
We have another meeting, June.
Oh, are you talking about joint?
Yeah, we have a joint meeting at the end of the month, I
Oh,
think.
This month?
To be,
Yeah.
I didn't have that on my
Somebody told
calendar.
me the 18th. I didn't dream it up. Okay.
I didn't have that on my calendar either.
I don't even know if I'm here.
Yeah.
We have to go through the process of introducing it.
Yeah.
At a
June 8th
meeting.
is what I was thinking, June 8th, Brian, I think.
Eight.
So we have to vote on whether we're going to.
So while the council decides what they would like with the abatement, in some of the cart before the
It's June
horse, a
10th.
lot of these
Today's the
economic
3rd.
development projects come before the commissioners, and we can say, go on
June 10th.
to the council. The commissioners believe it's a good economic development project. The thing that's in the court of the council, and Councilwoman Butrum brought this up, it's a great small project. I think they just have to figure out what that abatement may be. But we would consider it a good project to land in hand.
And your wages are good too. I like the looks of your wages.
Yeah, well,
People.
the wages, I think I'm correct when I say this, don't reflect, they have a really unique bonus program
Yeah.
that is across the board. You want to explain that real quick?
Well, so a lot of in addition to the business side of me, a lot of what I do personally is just sort of work on projects that have to do with trying to help with poverty and injustice. And when you dig into that and you just look at trying to pull people out of poverty, even if you can get them on a good weekly wage, they still can never save any money. You know, paycheck to paycheck is how a lot of us live. So when I figured that out, we started doing quarterly bonuses, top to bottom. And what that really, and it's like a profit sharing, and what that allowed these people to do is, you know, when I do get behind on my utility bills all winter, then my January bonus will catch me up. And then, so you don't just keep falling into more debt and more difficult situation. And so that's what we've continued. And we also on the side work with, because of my background, we work with debt counseling, mentoring, and things like that. So what that allows these people to do is to just live a more full life. They have more money then to spend on. They don't, you know, so they're in the beginning, all these people were coming to me with all of this medical debt and collection and all these problems. And now they don't do that. They can pay their bills. They can pay their medical bills. They can, and so it just takes them off the bottom of this poverty scale where they just don't have to try to survive every day. And they can start to like thrive in their life. And it's just, we've seen over the last 20 years, just tremendous. I mean, with these people's children, their children now have a different future. A lot of our original kids that were babies, and they're now able to go to college. There's just all kinds of benefits that have come out of this sort of profit-sharing approach. I never got into it for the money. I mean, we left really good jobs to do this. So it was really more of a passion on growing jobs and creating an environment where people would feel like they were appreciated at work is really how we started. Where they would, and appropriately challenged. We have we kind of have an everybody's ideas good policy. So I listen to all ideas. We evaluate all ideas. So I think it's just a really, it's very unique. I mean, certainly we have a lot of people that have worked a lot of other places, and it's just a very unique sort of environment to get to work in, I think.
So a week from today is June 10th, and if we didn't have you on the agenda then it would be the first week of July, and then we go into budget hearings, and it would probably be August. So will you be prepared a week? Is everyone prepared a week from today to have them on the agenda?
Keely, we usually don't do a
So-
budget meeting on the,
Oh, that's right, we might not even have the budget meeting because of
We're not
hearings
gonna have a
possibly.
budget meeting next month.
No.
We're not having it?
No.
Okay.
So we need to, if we want to discuss this again and introduce it, we'll have to do it at the regular meeting next week.
So I guess I'll need to look at the agenda, figure it out, because we're already pretty packed. We have several more, you guys don't realize what's coming. We have several more abatement requests coming next week.
Oh.
A lot more.
if they're on the
And
application, they're
a
supposed
lot
to give
more.
us 10 days. We're supposed to have the paperwork.
I don't think we got theirs within 10 days.
I was told we were timely. We filed on the 29th. I had worked that time schedule out with
29th, that would only be,
Byerly.
right, that's not 10 days to today.
You can always hold the special.
It'll be 10 days.
You can always hold a
10
special
days
meeting.
since-
It'll be 10 days before
It'll be
That's
10
not
days.
realistic, then we need to change it
But-
on the application. If
It's
10 days
I'm not
is
running
too
meetings
much.
like this late. This is
10 days
getting,
by next Wednesday.
if I was running this meeting, we'd be done a long time
Are
ago.
all those information
Well,
only
I
though
prefer
next
time,
month? Are
that's
those
for
just
sure.
information
Yeah,
only?
information only.
Yeah, we
Okay.
need to have those sent out because the application does say 10 days prior.
I know, I'll have to look, because
Yeah, but those are information only next week.
so we
This
have,
is
so the
information
issue with next week's
there's
is
no action.
they haven't paid the money to Deb Carnes yet?
Not this group.
I know, it's a different group.
They dropped a check off this morning.
All right, so they'll probably be
You
on,
got our check the day
We
we
got
filed.
yours, we was
Yeah.
talking
Yeah.
about different.
Okay.
yeah, there's,
Let's talk about this one.
Yeah.
well, you got more coming. You got lots of more
I
coming.
understand, but I don't want to confuse.
I just
the-
want to let you know, I mean,
Conversation
I'll have to
at
take a look at the agenda and see if we can get them in. Otherwise, we could put them in the beginning of July at 8 AM.
Well,
I thought you just said that meeting was being canceled.
Typically don't do
We
that.
typically don't do that, or you put it in August.
Well,
It's just bad timing. I don't think, right now, we're really busy
No,
on
I
budget.
know
mean,
you
it's
got the budget.
just,
I didn't know about other abatements.
Well, let's.
well, that you wouldn't know, unless you were doing
Let
them,
me
no.
ask the question though,
Of it?
Yeah, we don't know about my deadline.
but that would just be introducing it,
No, this would be voting on,
on introducing it.
Yes.
You gotta go through
Two
three-step
meetings,
process.
yes.
So you introduce it, you vote on introducing it, and then you set a hearing for 30 days later. Or is there a timeline when you set the hearing? You can't introduce it and do the hearing all on the same day. It has
Right.
to go on to another meeting.
Yeah.
So if you wait till July, you introduce it, then you got August,
I
you
don't think
have
we
to
could,
set
I don't
the
think we
hearing.
could get it done in 30 minutes. I don't think we could do it July then. Because you're going to have people in the public want to come and speak probably. And we're going to give them a chance to speak. And so you're probably looking at 30 minutes to an hour to do this.
Well, I guess President Wooldridge controls the agenda for council meetings, and so I guess you'll need to work with him to find out when you will
We'll
be placed.
interface. Obviously, we beg your indulgence to move as quickly as possible because we want to have a building to get into.
Yeah.
And the end of April 2027, your leases expire beginning or end of April?
End of April.
End of April.
Of next
So,
year?
Yeah.
Okay.
May 1, we need a place to go.
Yeah.
All right, well, determine with Mr. Wooldridge what agenda you'll be placed on. Like we said, there'll be 2 meetings, as you know, introducing and confirming, assuming it makes it through introducing, and so we will stay tuned of where you're placed on that.
And I've already provided a proposed
Okay. Thank you so much.
So has it been through planning yet? When do they get it?
The declaratory.
Not until they start doing the drawing.
Oh, okay.
And then they would go right to it with the drawing.
I am cognizant of all of your questions, and we will flesh out more detailed answers.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Brian.
But I
Thank
do
you.
thank you very much. It's nice to be back. I mean,
We've missed you. It's been a long time.
South Carolina, anything about
Oh, if we've missed you, good.
Thanks so much.
Bringing an owner-occupied tenant.
Yes.
It's new around here.
Yeah, it is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Greg Guerrettaz.
You're not you.
Bill,
I'm not,
I have something I wanted to add real quick to this abatement thing.
Okay, yeah.
Bill, if you don't mind, I'll just jump in.
Hey, Greg, 1 second. What is it, Mary?
I just wanted to say, this is our first application on the new application. I'm not happy with the way this is put together right up here where it lists the abatement timelines that we didn't allow for a line for what they're going to ask for. So I'm going to tweak that and get that in there, and I'm going to get these boxes a little bigger so you see them a little better. Is there anything anyone else has a thought on? Just email me and I'll make sure and incorporate that into the next round of updates on the application.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Okay?
Yeah.
Is that okay with you, Robin?
Okay, so the Builders Association went to the state legislature and said, you know, all the cities and counties are using our building money to subsidize the general fund. Well, that's not true, okay? So what you've got in your packet is the state law actually said effective July 1 bill, but it is now our understanding, State Board of Accounts said, no, that's not right, it's January 1. So January 1, we're going to, and they don't even have guidance out. So January 1, if you look at this page 10.
Well, Greg, I think it's on the back of the lit supplemental information. Everything was sent in one document, so it was all put together as one. So I think those planning pages are on the back of the lit supplemental information.
So it looks like this, and this is a general fund. This is the revenue side.
Yeah. It's on the back.
Does it say building permit up there, handwritten up there on the top?
Yes.
Okay.
It says building permit up here. So what we are expecting the guidance to come out is that we will move planning department and building department revenue out of the general fund, okay? And we will have to create a new fund. So the general fund budget, by the way, sometimes might go down and it'll look like it's going down, but we're really just shifting, right? And we also made a note here that when you calculate our revenue and compare it to the two expenses that we're going to move, we believe we're 14% deficit in planning and building. So Bill knows and he can speak to we get once in a 5-year time to raise our rates, but if you want to talk to that a minute.
No, that's part of the new statute too.
Yep.
In House Enrolled Act 1001, it says you can only adjust your permit fees at once every 5 years. So I know Ms. Brooks has been working on what those fees should be so that we're not asking for anything that appears to be preventative, but that appears to help pay for services that we seem to greatly give, that we need to get some of that money back.
So I think we should project for 5 years too, you know, with salary increases and benefits and things like that, so that we don't get caught in a fine wine 1 year and then it grows from the next. But then if you take page 11, see page 11, we'll be taking out, I think, inspection fees also. And then we move to new fund on page 31 of the sustainability. We project that we would be moving this entire plan commission budget over. And then we would also move over the building department, okay, of 245. So we've got to make that change in the 2027 budget. And once you get guidance, you will either agree or disagree, and so heads up. Because that's something everybody's going to get caught for in the 27 budget, and we want to make sure that we get it right.
They can't change for 5 years, but can they establish a fee that's 14% higher right now? I mean,
Well, right, that's what we're saying.
Yeah, we are.
Is we want to review, you want to review it in a 5-year timeline and get it correct, okay? And get all of them correct, because there's more than one fee, so to speak. So
we haven't heard a whole lot about this until this agenda.
we know because it was snuck in, and even State Board of Accounts is way behind and has no guidance. So the goal was, Bill and I wanted to give you a heads up on what we're doing, what we think is going to happen with revenue and expenses, And, this thing about subsidizing general fund was totally wrong. And I don't even think the ARC spent any time. It got kind of snuck in. Yeah, but
So
that's it.
another additional point to that, and one of the requests we would like to make today for our planning director is to hire a contract person part-time. The reason being July 1 or July, is it now? Is it going to be January for this, for the permit part where?
For the new fund, and moving over, it'll be January 1.
Well, okay, then this is different. This is where a builder, developer can come in and ask for their plan to be looked at. You set off a timeline, which I would call like a shot clock. We have 10 days, only 10 days to get a completed plan reviewed. And that means it's hit all the departments, health departments, surveyor. And if you don't have that done, the developer has the ability by statute to say, I want all my permit fees back, and they get to go on and do their development without any other additional input from the planning department.
Who thought that up?
Builders.
Well, the builders
They
did.
pulled the fast one.
Builders at the state
Aggie did that?
legislature.
And they don't have to adhere to our regulations.
Wow.
Yep.
So part of that, and we've had this discussion with surveyors across the state, is that once that application changes, so like when it gets to my office, once that application changes and there needs to be things, that clock restarts again. So it's not 10 days.
But is that your office, or is that, who's interpreted that then? Who's gonna tell us that statutorily?
Good question, but, and I can check on that, but from what we've been told is that anytime that application changes, that there needs to be changes with that application, then that resets that clock again, another 10 days.
I don't think that's in the language.
Yes, because it's not a completed application anymore, because it's not complete.
Yeah. So
Because they can put anything on it. and
Sure.
say,
Well, regardless, to get this off the ground, Kayla will need an additional, and what we potentially believe the commissioners may need another full-time person, but before going full-time or asking for full-time, we would like to recommend that, and we have to her before as commissioners, hire out a part-time contractor in the planning department so we can see the need. We don't want it to appear like we're trying to do an end run around the fact that we know Greg has said no more new hires. We understand that, but we also want to test the water and see if we really do need that additional staff to help them. And I say that too, knowing that we in Boone County are the two fastest growing counties in the community or in the state of Indiana. And it's only going to get worse for them to be able to do their job. And the last thing I think any of us want is kind of development coming through Hancock County and having the shot clock be defeated and us having to give them their permits and things back, their monies back, and then be able to do a development that we're not.
I think,
For commercial.
I think that sounds like a separate agenda item for a future meeting, right? I mean, we have not,
For that.
for them.
Yeah, so from the council standpoint, just when you think budgets are easy, they're getting harder. We're going to start moving things, get ready. That's what we'll have to do for 27.
So we're saying get ready potentially for a new person ask, but we're also asking for a funding source for
Say when this takes effect.
part-time, and if that.
January 1.
And if that needs to happen next week at the council meeting, we can come and ask for that.
Okay, talk to
Verify,
Scott.
we were told July 1st at our last meeting. Are you saying that they've changed that? The new fund has to be created by July 1.
No, that's wrong.
Okay, that's what they just told us.
Yeah, that's wrong.
Bill, what you're
Because
saying, though,
there's no
eventually
way, and
this may
first
work
of all,
into a
doing a
full-time.
new fund in the middle of the year and switching revenues, so State Board of Accounts has said, no, that's wrong. And because we thought it was July 1 too, and Charlie has an email on it.
That's why we were like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want that meeting, I think I have to keep that meeting.
And so-
It's got to be done by 11.
And we also don't want, and I'm sure Caleb will make sure,
I do run it faster. I do run meetings faster.
that we're not subsidizing new development by really have a lost leader of 14%. So, You know, when I put those numbers together real fast, I was like, whoa, wait a minute. You know, taxpayers subsidizing growth. We don't want that.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Thank you, Greg. So more to come on those items. Moving on to wrap up the meeting, minutes for May 6th. Did anyone
I
propose?
make a motion to approve the May 6 minutes.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Same sign. Auditor, do you have any business?
Yes, I'm gonna go ahead and let them go.
The fire and EMS study, the actual contract stated that we needed 97,000 for that study. Well, Janine only asked for 90. So I'd like to have an additional appropriation of the $7,000. That way we can pay for that.
Sounds like you need to get out your checkbook, dear.
Yeah, tell me about it. I don't have one that goes that high.
It's an additional appropriation, it's something.
Yes.
Well, it wouldn't have to be an appropriation, we've got money, they need to let you know that contract was originally 97, the bills come in, we only appropriated 90, so we.
Gonna have to do the
Are
other
you
seven.
okay to take another 7,000 for that same contract that you previously approved?
Okay, so money is already appropriated miscellaneously and available. If anyone would like to make a motion to allocate another 7,000.
Increase the allocation by $7,000 to cover the cost of this.
Right.
Mary No with the motion, Kent Fisk with the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes.
I have one other thing in the back of your packet, and this is for a resolution that we need to be okay to move $75,000 from Nine Star, deposit it into the general fund, because we've just been hanging on to this check, because they brought us a check that we had nowhere to put it. So I think Scott's got a resolution that he said.
Yeah, there's one additional thing. I think we should do this at the meeting next week because Dan Strahl wanted to see it. And he's the sewer water
Okay,
district.
that's fine, we're just sitting on this check for an awful long time.
But it should be, we should
I was thinking
approve
they were
next
wanting to
week.
create a new line.
Okay, anything else before I entertain a motion to adjourn?
I just want to say that if Scott has.
Which got me, or-
Scott, you.
Oh, me.
Abatement applications, I know our application says they need to have it 2 days prior. Well,
Okay.
either we need to get those out to us so we can have time to adjust the application and not say 10 days. Because it's not realistic.
I think the problem right now, when it comes in, we put that in your packet and we send your packet out on Thursday or Friday before your meeting. So if we need to start sending that out earlier.
Yeah, there we have it.
We can do
Well,
that.
it's not enough though. We need to have it.
Well, you're saying they haven't technically filed it? Is that what you're
No,
saying?
they filed it.
They filed it, so
We
why?
received, yeah, who are you, we've got the Lexus and,
You got Walmart.
Time to look at it.
10 days is so that we all have 10 days.
We got the
Yes,
check
right,
today,
exactly.
didn't we?
yeah, we
Make
just
sure
now
that's
are getting
clear.
a check today for this Lexus hours.
Yes.
And I don't know about Walmart, I know Nicole was just, but we'll send you out anything that we've got right away.
have
So
completed
what
all
we
of
do
their
is when they
steps,
send it to
then-
us, and it's agreed to be put on the agenda, we just put it in your packet. So if we need to incorporate that into our process to make sure, we don't arbitrarily send it if you guys don't even wanna hear it, do you know what I mean? So,
I just would like to know that
just
we're
have
going
to
to get
figure
it
out
10
the
days
best way to
prior,
serve you.
if that's what we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, okay, wonderful. Motion to adjourn?
So move.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
See you
Thanks,
next
guys.
week.
Thank you.